Setting her up for a lifetime of savings. It's one decision she'll never regret, unlike wearing tap shoes to a surprise party.
Sorry, guys. Just trying to find the perfect hiding place.
Pretty regrettable, Chrissy. Unlike finding that low mortgage rate at AmeriSave.com that's got you on your way to a lifetime of savings. AmeriSave's rates won't be this low forever, so go to AmeriSave.com now. Lower mortgage rates mean higher savings. Call 866-514-SAVE or visit AmeriSave.com/licensing for cost information, terms and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all states except New York. NMLS number 1168.
KFC's Colonel Sanders here. We all love sitting down to a home-cooked meal with family. But there's rarely enough hours in the day to do the cooking. So let me do the cooking for you. Well, not me personally. That's just a turn of phrase. Your KFC will do the actual cooking. The point is, let someone else do the home cooking for you. Come to KFC and pick up a $20 fill-up. That's 8 pieces of chicken or 12 tenders and all the fixings to feed your family. Order ahead at KFC.com. Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. $20 fill-up not available with delivery. Tax and substitutions extra. Delivery service and additional fees may apply.
Hey, Matthew, we need to restock those sleeping bags.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
One of you cover this register?
Like at Anita's outdoor store. Sorry. To keep sales climbing, she needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
If you're very quiet, you can hear it. The joy, the freedom, the crunch. From 100% whole grain oats. Stay outside longer with Nature Valley Oats and Honey Crunchy Granola Bars. We are better outside.
The radio home for Philadelphia Flyers hockey. Big save by Carter Hart. WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
We are rocking and rolling on a Monday. This is the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. I'm your host, Mike Gill. That's Hunter Brody. Josh Henning producing today's show. You out there, what's up, everybody? It was a very busy weekend, Brodes, and we are back with a whole bunch of stuff. All four teams really in play today. I like the days where there's like all four teams in play. We had the Sixers with a loss, a very I guess you could say Brett Brown era loss last night. Big lead, lose the lead, and of course you lose to the Raptors on the road. It doesn't matter if it's in Toronto or Tampa Bay. You're at a Toronto building or a team that hosts them, you're going to lose that game. So that was last night. A lot of the tweets last night, I said, is Brett Brown coaching? That's what it looked like, didn't it? Like, didn't the tweets, I mean.
You know
or
what?
the game, I don't know.
You saw more Doc Rivers slander than I did, apparently. I didn't see much going after Doc.
Oh, wow. My timeline was filled with,
I'm glad. I want it to be that way. I want people to keep it 100. If you felt Brett was a problem in that same scenario and you don't call out Doc for the same issue, well, then that's called being a fraud. So I'm glad you saw it because I didn't.
Yeah, I got a text. There was a guy last year that used to text me back and forth, hates Brett Brown, thought he was the worst. And I texted him this morning. I kept telling you Brown wasn't the main issue. People going crazy like Doc is some horrible coach. He's not. I said, this is the NBA. It's not the coaches, ... And he says, Doc's an improvement. Last night I thought Doc was out-coached a bit.
In what world? They got all these fantastic looks because, you know what? Nick Nurse said, let's make Joel Embiid uncomfortable. Fine. All right. And it worked because he was. But what ended up happening? Tobias had wide open looks. Seth Curry had wide open looks. These guys literally had insanely wide open looks. Tobias Harris, when was the last time he went 0 for 6 in the first quarter? That's not who he is this year. So if they made those shots, you would have said Doc's a genius.
Much like in the past, if they make their shots, they had open looks. This is a team that last year had open looks all the time. They didn't have a roster filled with guys that could shoot the ball. This team has better shooters, but some nights you have an off night. Like I thought people going crazy about Doc Rivers had a horrible game last night, and I'm not going to sit here and say he wasn't part of it. Like, what was there? I don't know. I mean, I thought Nurse did a good job with his game plan of they sent different double teams at Embiid from different angles, and people were like, well, that was really the difference, that Embiid struggled a lot. Well, they just weren't letting Embiid beat you, which means someone else has to beat you. It wasn't that they did something that the Sixers couldn't figure out. The Raptors just said, we are not going to let Joel Embiid be the guy that beats us. So I think the Sixers have to look at themselves and say, do we have enough around Joel Embiid if someone's going to defend him like that?
I think if that game played out again the same exact way on a different night, you'd see a different outcome. I thought that when you saw the beginning of the game go out the way that it did with Tobias missing so many shots, just one of those nights where it didn't fall. You needed someone to step up, and I really do believe the same game plays out, and we'll see on Tuesday maybe if they elect to go down the same road. Like, I wonder if Nick Nurse is going to do a Doc Rivers philosophy of, until I see you beat it, we're not going to change it.
It's a good possibility, and you're right. I think if Seth Curry or one of the guys last night was on, that would have made the Raptors change their mentality. Nobody got going, so the Raptors never had to get out of what they were doing.
Right, like if Tobias Harris, instead of 0 for 6 in the first quarter, was 3 of 5, 3 of 4, could you keep bringing that same intensity towards Embiid?
No, absolutely not. Right, they didn't have a player last night that made the Raptors. It wasn't something that the Raptors did and the Sixers didn't have an answer for. The Sixers had looks, they weren't making their looks, and this goes back to, like, you look at the end of most NBA games, not all of them. You go look at the box score at the end of a night. Who makes more threes? That team typically wins the game. And some people might want to say it's not that easy. I'm not saying it's that easy. Go look at the box score. Teams in the NBA shoot a lot of threes, and if you're making them, you're probably in that game. And if you're missing them, you're probably not going to win that game. And the Sixers were not making them. And with the fact that they weren't making, they had double-digit leads. So what happened that they lost the double-digit leads, I think, is more of the problem. Yeah, their offense was struggling to make big shots or open shots, but why were they not able to get stops? I think that's more the problem I have.
Yeah, that's definitely a common theme that we brought up ever since that road trip. It was definitely more on display. A lot of it has to do with the bench. And if I want to look at Doc in this mindset, I know that there's not a lot of options, and I know it's hard to stagger players and make sure that there's always one that you can kind of rely on and whatnot, but there are times where I think he rolls out the bench lineup too much, knowing where they're at. I don't know what you see in this lineup to continue to roll, 4 out of 5 guys. If you go full bench and Seth Curry, what can you find another way to maybe limit the bench play, or maybe not limit the bench play, but keep more of your starters out there, stagger things more? It's definitely killing you when you go to the bench, and that's why they lose the lead.
I like this. Now we're and I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, like, how many times last year did we hear about Brett Brown's rotations and how people didn't like how he had, it was almost scripted before the game that Embiid's going to play like the first 8 minutes and then he's going to come off no matter what. And now we're looking at some of these rotations and kind of scratching our head. And I say this a lot over the Brown era, and I'll say it again with Rivers. And this shows you, like, I'm not a huge Brett Brown guy. I'm not a huge Rivers guy. I think Rivers adds a professionalism that this team needed. I think his staff is very good, and that adds to your team being prepared. But a lot of these coaches, like, during the regular season, they want to see how guys that maybe never played together end up playing together. So you might be mad watching that game. They're watching that game with a different set of eyes, saying, hey, you know what? I don't know if we're going to win this game tonight, but I want to see how Isaiah Joe runs with this group of guys. Oh, you know what? I want to see Milton, who normally plays with this group. I want to see how he handles playing with these other guys. And you might be saying, why is Milton still out there? And the coach is saying, I need to learn if Milton can play with this group and this group.
There's no doubt that happened last night with Isaiah Joe. The problem is, because it was almost as if he was taking over Furkan, but what happened was Matisse Thybulle got that technical, so he ended up having 3 personal fouls real early in the game. So then you had to put Furkan out there, and it almost kind of ruined what you were trying to do and what you were trying to see because of foul trouble.
Yeah, you go into it with a plan. Korkmaz 0 for 2, and he pretty much got yanked out, off the court. So then, hey, let's give Isaiah Joe a run. And by the way, Joe's a better defensive player than Korkmaz is, and I think they shoot. I think if you put them up against each other, they can both get hot. They both can stroke a 3. So I wouldn't be surprised if Joe started to get more of those Furkan minutes. But the problem you end up having is you're relying now on a rookie to come off the bench and be that guy that comes in and gives you some offense. I think the Sixers, and there's a report out today that they are looking to make major moves. And not major moves, I don't think, in that trading Ben Simmons or Joel Embiid or Tobias Harris, but I think they feel like, look, they're the number 1 seed in the East, Brodes, and I think and there is a name that was mentioned in the article we'll get to in a second, but I think what the Sixers are realizing is we have a very good team. We're still a couple pieces short. We don't have to make that major deal, but let's see if we can find somebody that's not going to make us break up our core, but that can add an impact player. And that name that has been coming up today from Kevin O'Connor from The Ringer is Kyle Lowry. Now, Kyle Lowry's name is the name that is coming up. Reports around the league, sources say the Sixers are seeking major moves to increase its championship odds. One name to monitor is Raptors point guard Kyle Lowry. That's from The Ringer. I like Lowry. Does he move the needle enough?
He does for me, and I even said this weeks back when it was more of a barroom conversation than it was legitimate because we were farther away from the trade deadline actually going down, and it was more just speculation than heavier rumors. There would only be a few guys that would make me feel like, hey, this was a significant jump. And I do feel like Kyle Lowry is that good mix of, we talk about how bad the bench is. Well, this guy will calm down that second unit. He might, would he start? Would he move Danny Green to the bench, or do you think that's...
Well, two things. One, yes, I think he starts.
Okay.
But the question is, what happens here? Does Curry have to go? Because I think you might have to move.
I'd rather move Green to the... I'd rather have Green stay, right? But only be a starter that plays maybe 20 minutes. So he technically starts, but Lowry will be that sixth man that plays more of starter minutes, but you switch them. You know what I mean, though? Like, he's the starter that plays the least amount of minutes.
What if you went with Curry and Green? Now, who's to say that Green is not a part of the trade?
It's a good point.
Because I think monetarily he might need to be involved in that deal. But I don't know. I'm trying to figure out who would be a part of this trade to get Kyle Lowry. But what if you put Lowry and Thibault in the lineup together and went with Green and Curry off the bench?
The only problem I have...
If they're not involved in the deal, and Thibault might be involved in that deal, so that's another wrinkle.
Would Thibault keep you away from me? Would any of the Shake, Maxey, Thibault of the three, would any of those kind of be skeptical on making the move, or are you okay with getting rid of any of those three guys? Because I think Matisse, while I am frustrated with the offensive side, there's something significantly there on the other end that I think Shake and Tyrese, hey, have at it. Go ahead, Toronto. Pick what you want. I'm not saying Matisse would be off. I'm not saying if they ask for Matisse, it's 100% no, but I would be more skeptical of moving him than the other two.
Yeah, Maxey's kind of an interesting thing because he had this run. He excited people. Then people were like, I wouldn't trade him for Harden. And now he's not even in the rotation hardly right now. So I don't know. Are you willing to say, you know what? He might be a nice player. I like him still, but he's a guy I'm willing to move on from?
Yeah, because here's why. With where you're at now, it's different. If we were in a different situation, you're in like, hey, let's go win this thing. So you're going to have to give up a little. If I had a franchise that was more patient and, hey, we're going to sit back and let some of these guys grow, then I would be okay with watching Tyrese Maxey develop. But right now, it's, hey, let's attack this thing.
Well, and the question is, do you think Tyrese Maxey 3 years from now that you're giving away some guy that is going to be a borderline all-star player?
You're in a different stage than with Embiid and Simmons where you can you're not going to be in such a horrible spot if you let go of Tyrese Maxey.
And with Simmons here, he's going to be your primary ball handler for the next 10 years or as long as he's here, which means a guy like Maxey might – look, you brought Maxey in hoping that he could be that backup point guard, get some of those minutes. But that, to me, means he's expendable.
Definitely. No doubt about it. If that's your role, you can find that role.
Yeah, you can always get that veteran player to say, hey, we want you to come in and play 12 minutes and be the ball handler next to Ben so he doesn't have to do it all night long. So, to me, Maxey is an expendable player if I'm getting Lowry back in return. Lowry's on an expiring contract. Lowry plays pretty good defense. Look, he's been a championship player. He got criticized a lot during those DeRozan years. I had said afterwards when DeRozan got traded and they brought in Kawhi that I don't have a problem with Lowry. Lowry as my main 1 and 1A player with DeRozan, yeah, he had a lot of failures and he wasn't that one player. But now that when they got Kawhi, I always said, I don't mind that he's the second guy now because he's clearly the second guy. Or maybe even the third guy on that championship team because you had Siakam, Van Vliet had a nice role on that team. They brought in players that Lowry didn't have to shoulder the burden. He's not that player, but he would be similar here where he would be the third or fourth guy. So I think Lowry fits. He's made big shots in his career. Now he's come up small a lot in his career, But I think he's kind of got past that.
Well, coming up small now with Embiid spacing, like think about it. If you're swinging the basketball around the perimeter and the Raptors try something similar, or whoever they're playing does what the Raptors did last night, that shot is now significantly more wide open with a guy like Joel Embiid out on the floor. So maybe those coming up small moments won't happen as much because of where he will be playing with this roster.
And they didn't happen as much, Brodes, when he had Kawhi Leonard. And I tried to explain that to people who were like, well, he is who he is. He comes up small. Well, no, you put Kawhi Leonard on the court with him, he has open looks. He has more confidence because he's on a team where he's not the best player and the pressure's not on him. He's on a team that has someone else, and he can just be a part of that. He's a very good third, fourth guy. I mean, you can do a lot worse than Kyle Lowry. And Ralph Max watching on YouTube, he's, hey, Brodes and Mike, Victor or Kyle? I think he's talking about Oladipo. Oladipo's an expiring contract. Kyle's an older guy. I don't know his contract situation is an expiring contract too. So you would be getting, how old is he? 34?
34, turning 35 in a month.
Yeah, you're getting an older guy, so you're going for it. You bring in Lowry. That's the question. You're bringing in a 34-year-old guy. You're going for it this year. Is he a big enough piece to say, we're going for it? Let's go.
I think so. I really do. And another thing to factor in is this Eastern Conference. What is this Eastern Conference? There's no LeBron who's automatically going to go to the championship. Now, it looks like the Brooklyn Nets are finding their wave a little bit. I'm not fully sold on them, but they're playing better basketball. So when I look at this Eastern Conference, I think that also factors into my decision because whether the Sixers have flaws or not, which obviously they do, aren't they in the mix with the Nets and Milwaukee? No one's running away with this thing is my point.
I think the Nets are starting to show why everybody had hype in them.
Yeah.
They haven't played all that much together, and they've beaten the Lakers now, and Anthony Davis-less Lakers. They went and beat the Clippers the next night. So they're beating good teams on the road. So, yeah, I think the Nets are a legitimate in the conversation. I think the Bucks will end up being better as this goes on. I think they're trying to get PJ Tucker. You're going to see these teams now start to maneuver themselves for that March 25th deadline. And I think teams are going to make trades before the deadline because there's less time to get ready to play with these guys. So I think they want to get these guys on their team as fast as they can. Now, got this text message that says, a professional team, this guy obviously doesn't watch the NBA, but I'll read this anyway. Says a professional team that goes 7 minutes without making a basket in the fourth quarter won't beat a team of middle schoolers.
Okay, what about their fourth quarter efficiency prior to last night, which was sensational?
Do you not watch the league? Like some nights teams just go on a drought. The Lakers
7.5.
The Lakers go, I guarantee this text message. The Lakers won an NBA championship last year. I would guarantee you there was a game last year that they went a 7-minute stretch without making a basket on a Tuesday night in February.
Yeah.
I just a hunch. And I would imagine that most teams in this league have nights where for 7-8 minutes they go dry. They don't make a basket. It's different if you go 7 minutes without making a basket and you can't get a look. You have sloppy sets. You're turning the ball over. They just weren't making shots. They had looks. They had open looks. They just weren't going down. That's not a bad team. That's a team that had a bad shooting night.
Yeah, and Embiid a couple times really late down the stretch. How many of those shots rattled around the rim and just fell out? As if they were almost halfway down the rim. And that's where you just kind of laugh and you realize, like, okay, the basketball guy, we've all had those days, whether we're playing at the park or whatever, where your shots are just not falling. You're doing everything. They're good looks, good flow out of your hand, good rhythm, but it's just not falling through. I'm not happy to see the 7 and like I'm definitely putting that down for something to watch as we continue. Yeah, as we continue to watch the team, but just because of one night, I'm not going to criticize them insanely.
Right. That's the exception, not the rule. Every team has the exception night where they just don't shoot it well. They might go on a drought. 7:35 is an excessive amount of time, but it's not like they're the only team that's ever had that happen to them. And I'm talking about any good team. Bad teams have it happen all the time where they go on 7-minute scoring droughts. We're talking about the Lakers, the Clippers, the Nets, the Sixers, the Bucks. I mean, the teams that think they have championship aspirations, they have those nights where they go through that. This text message, a couple of weeks ago, everyone, Brodes, in Philly wanted Simmons gone. I was not a part of that text message guy. I was never a part of the trade. Simmons.
Yeah.
And I never really had a problem with Simmons.
Well, just to clarify, I said that there would be 2 people in the league that I would do it for. So saying that I would trade Ben Simmons, sure. But one of those was James Harden. And look what he's doing with this Brooklyn Nets team. This, who's to say that this little spurt that the Nets are on that looked to be turning the page couldn't have happened between him and Joel Embiid. So I was in the trade Ben Simmons camp.
This Nets Sixer thing is going to be like Ben Simmons against Harden in the playoff, although I want to say in the playoffs, we don't know if they're going to match up, but it's definitely interesting. It's like such a contrast.
It is, for sure. And yeah, no doubt. I just, just to reiterate where we were at the time, it was definitely for Harden, definitely for Beal, and I wouldn't really do it for LaVine because I didn't think he was that type of player. And you saw Matisse Thybulle, by the way, put the clamps down on Zach LaVine and made it a tough day. We didn't even touch on Embiid's 50-point night yet.
No, we didn't get a chance to go there, but he exploded on Friday night.
That was so. I couldn't tell you the last regular season game that was that enjoyable.
Well, all I kept thinking too was, can you imagine if fans were there to see that?
I know when he did that, when he looked around and did like the whole arm up in the air race that he does.
Yeah,
it would have erupted. The building, the top of the ceiling would have blew up, and it would have done more construction.
Speaking of fans, the governor this morning is allowing the New Jersey Devils to have fans back in the arena starting March the 1st in New Jersey. So I don't know if Pennsylvania is going to follow suit, but I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year you see some fans at Sixers games.
Yeah, I think so. I think it started with that
and Flyers.
With that New York Knicks thing that we saw the Brooklyn Nets a week ago or so. It's starting the trend. I wonder if they try and push it for the second half of the NBA schedule.
Well, and you keep seeing the Sixers advertising for season tickets, and you keep thinking, what the hell are you advertising for season tickets for? But I'm imagining, like, if in the event that they let fans in. Now, for baseball, I know the Phillies are letting 2,000 or 2,200 fans in down there in Clearwater.
Oh, okay.
It's like an 8,000 seats stadium. So I think it's like 20% capacity that they're letting in there. I saw in the Cactus League, the Diamondbacks and Rockies both play in the same complex. They've sold out every game already, 2,200 fans for every single game. So seems like people are willing and ready to kind of get back out there.
Yeah, I would be. When this all first started.
Baseball, what about inside?
I think I would. I think I'm ready now to we have enough information. We kind of understand where we're at here with all this.
Get my first shot on Thursday.
Are you?
Yeah.
Are you a little nervous? I heard the second one gives you a tough how do you do.
Yeah, I've had some people. I literally just talked to a couple people this weekend who were done with their second one and said they had a couple rough days, but they're past it now. I'm getting my first one on Thursday.
All right.
Thursday morning, I will have my first shot. I'm not like doing cartwheels and excited about it, but this is coming from someone like I don't get the flu shot.
Right. I don't either.
I did get the flu shot this year. And you know what's funny? I've only had the flu once in my entire life. One time I had the flu. It was the most miserable experience of my life. And I said I would never wish it upon my worst enemy. And I got the flu shot this year. Now, I got it last year because they give it out in the building here. So it's like I don't have to go somewhere to get it and they come right here. Sure, I'll take it. They gave it to me and I didn't even remember because I had no pain, no nothing. It was like, oh my God, I got a flu shot today. I didn't even remember. I really hope that's what happens to me on Thursday.
Maybe for the first, my fiance had the first one. She was supposed to get the second one this weekend, but because of the snow and this and that, they kind of pushed some things back on her. But I saw her. There's a little bit of a struggle from day one, I think, too, on the first shot. So I'm just saying.
On the first one?
On the first one, there was a little, how do you do it? Not as significant as the second, apparently, but there was something there. So just keep an eye out.
I'm not
Be
like,
prepared.
I'm not like doing jumping jacks, getting all that excited about it. In fact, I didn't even schedule it. My girlfriend did. She said, you're going on the 25th.
Oh, she demanded.
Well, I mean, it was one of those things where I wasn't there, and it was like, I'm in the system, so.
All right. Well, she doing it with you too?
Hers is the following week.
Okay. So she wants to see how you react, and then she's got to back out. She's a smart woman.
Let's see how I feel. So that's on Thursday. Jake Smithers, 23, is watching on YouTube. Says, I would take Kyle Lowry over Victor Oladipo. I would love to have a vet in there like Lowry. Yeah, I think I like Oladipo if he's healthy.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's obviously something wrong with Oladipo that he's been on like 9 teams.
I thought the same thing. Yeah, someone mentioned to me earlier today if I'd be interested in Lonzo Ball. And I'm like, Lonzo Ball. But if you look at his numbers, if you look at his 3-point shooting, I know, I agree with you. What I brought up was the veteran experience part. Like, I think this secondary unit needs help. They need this poised, calm, collected veteran that knows what to do to operate an offense. If you bring in Alonzo Ball, you just have a young point guard out there that isn't that. I want someone who, we talk about grown man's league, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33. I want someone who has been around the block in big moments.
He's not a shot maker.
I know. He's shooting 39% from three. I was almost stunned when I looked it up afterwards. But Lonzo Ball's young. I want veteran. I want experience. I want someone who's been in big moments. It's a grown man's league.
I feel what you're saying there. Like, if you're telling me Ball or Lowry, I would rather Lowry for that reason. But if you told me Ball or
George Hill, what would you say? Ball?
I like Hill, though.
I do, too. That's what I'm looking for.
Trying to find an example that would. Do I want Ball or
DeLon Wright?
No, if you were giving me, I like DeLon Wright.
Me too.
If you were telling me I'm getting Ish Smith back, a veteran player who's solid. I mean, Ish Smith is, when he goes places, he's one of those guys that's just a veteran. He runs the offense. He makes a couple shots, but you're not winning a championship with Ish Smith. So I'd rather have Ball there, even though Smith is a veteran point guard who can come in and handle the role.
Yeah, I can agree with you on that one for sure. That's one of those, that doesn't push the needle. That doesn't move the needle. You're just helping out a little bit. But when you speak of a Kyle Lowry or a George Hill, I think they could push the needle.
Sports Batch today is brought to you by AmeriSave Mortgage. Lower mortgage rates means more savings. Find out more at AmeriSave.com. We are live in a variety of ways. So in other words, if you are not finding us, that's on you. You can listen to us on the radio. You can listen to us on your phone. You can watch us on your phone. You can watch us on your television. You can watch us on our website. You can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. And a lot of you are and have been, and we appreciate that. I'll have more news on that coming up a little bit later on. We got good news and we got sad news, and we'll do it all today. Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Paul Hudrick is good news. He'll join us for Inside the Sixers today at 3:20. Inside the Birds with Jeff Mosher, because there's more stories about Carson Wentz coming out. I don't know where to begin with this Wentz stuff. It's like, I just want to end it. I just want that chapter to close.
Okay. I didn't know what you were talking about.
I just want that chapter of the Wentz stuff to close. I want stuff to stop trickling out to make me have to think more about what Carson Wentz did and did not do. It is the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. Watch the show on our website, 973ESPN.com. We got plenty more on the Sixers. The Flyers game last night was a disaster. The NHL had an embarrassing weekend in a weekend that was supposed to be a great celebration. All that more.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin on 97.3 ESPN.
If I take a guy at 6, what am I going to do with that guy? I'm getting ready to give him $35 million.
You got to treat him like Wentz. You got to give him the job.
Got to give him the damn job. Why in the hell would I do that? That's stupid.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Weekday mornings at 6 on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Bigger, better, Boardwalk. Boardwalk Honda. Bigger, better, Boardwalk. Boardwalk Honda. Your brand new Honda is waiting for you at Boardwalk Honda. Stop in and shop our complete new inventory. Accord, Civic, CRVs, you name it. And we have a great selection of SUVs with all-wheel drive capabilities, perfect for snowy conditions. Right now, lease a new 2021 HRV LX all-wheel drive for just $99 a month. Or lease a new 2021 CRV EX all-wheel drive for $189 a month. Plus, browse our entire selection of pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas. We have it all from store to shore. We're sure to have the vehicle you want at the price you want. Plus, we work with all credit situations. Boardwalk Honda partners with over 25 top financial lenders, so we'll help you get approved and on the road in your new Honda in no time. Visit Boardwalk Honda today, located in Egg Harbor Township, or shop online at boardwalkhonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal. Bigger, better, Boardwalk. Boardwalk Honda. Call us toll free at 844-890-3390 for more details.
Broadlee's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning makes it easy to upgrade to the most energy-efficient equipment. And for a limited time, Broadlee's is giving you a free furnace with the purchase of a high-efficiency AC system. 0% financing and rebates from the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities. And its clean energy program mean even greater savings. Don't miss out on Broadlee's free furnace frenzy. Certain restrictions apply. Call Broadlee's at 609-390-3907 or visit broadlees.net, your trusted source for 3 generations.
Hey guys, are you afraid of taking off your shirt in public? Don't be embarrassed.
Just say, I love Lyle back instead with male breast reduction. Many men develop a fullness in their chest as boys that persists and even worsens as they get older. This condition is called gynecomastia, and with simple liposuction, most cases can be effectively treated. Call 856-MAKEOVER today to schedule your private consultation with Dr. Lyle and Back. That's 856-MAKEOVER, or visit ilovelyle.com.
Let's get to work, South Jersey. Today, commuting challenges aren't just an inconvenience. They affect quality of life, independence, and mobility. Cross County Connection, the region's Transportation Management Association, is dedicated to improving the quality of life in South Jersey through transportation solutions. www.driveless.com is your key to mobility, providing public transportation resources, commute planning, and employer programs. Let Cross County Connection help you get there. 856-596-8228. Funded by the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority and the Federal Highway Administration, which assume no liability for its contents.
Hello, Cape May County. This is County Commissioner Len Desiderio, co-chair of the County Recovery Task Force. We know that there are a lot of questions about the COVID vaccination. Please go to capemaycountynj.gov for information and to register in the state system. The beginning of this effort has been very challenging as we wait for the federal and state governments to implement distribution. But we already lead the state in vaccine administration, and we are ready to expand our efforts as soon as the state distributes larger amounts of vaccine to us. Please go to capemaycountynj.gov and click to register, and check back often for more information. You will then be notified by the state when your turn comes about how to schedule your appointment. Go to capemaycountynj.gov and register now. Please go to capemaycountynj.gov for information and to register in the state system. Let's vaccinate safely together.
Tax refunds are great for fresh starts, especially in 2021. Refresh your ride with your refund at Mako and make the year one you'll never forget. Head to Mako.com to get a free estimate today. Better get Mako.
The Sports Bash with Mike, Gill, and Brodes on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And now you can watch the show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 97.3ESPN.com.
All right, 2:30 on the Sports Bash. It's brought to you by Matt Black Kia. They want to get you approved today. That's Matt Black Kia, Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township. Mike and Brodes with you till 6 o'clock tonight. Paul Hudrick, our Sixers insider, going to join us at 3:20 today. Give us his thoughts. Would you make a deal for Kyle Lowry? League sources say the Sixers are still seeking major moves to increase its championship odds, per The Ringer. One name to monitor is Raptors point guard Kyle Lowry. Does he move the needle for you out there? Hit us up on the text board, 609-403-0973. Or if you're watching the show live on our website, 973ESPN.com, get involved in the stream chat, and we will put your comments up on the screen. And Brodes and I will kind of go over those. So I think Kyle Lowry is a good piece. I don't know what you have to give up to get him. The question you asked is, does he start? I think Lowry has to start. I mean, he's a championship player. I don't know that he comes off the bench. I think I go with him and Simmons in the backcourt, bring Curry off the bench and let him run with that second unit.
Okay, so when he runs with that second unit, you would keep it where Shake is that primary ball handler, and that would be Shake, Seth Curry, and that would be your kind of combo there?
Yeah, I think I can go. No, it depends who I'm giving up in the deal. Let's say I have to give up Danny Green.
Yeah, he's making $30 million, so you got to find a way to make this thing work. Danny Green's making what, around 17, 14, in that range?
Now, is there a date that you have to have Green on your roster till? Isn't there something where if you trade a guy, he has to be on the team for so long before you can trade him again?
It's a good point. We'd have to look that up, exactly the wording on it.
So Green, I think, would be monetarily. I'm talking monetary. I don't know that Green's I wrote the article for the website, and somebody tweeted at me that he thinks Green would be a part of the package. Now, I don't know that that's true or not.
Right, $15 million he makes, so you're going to have to find a way to match the Kyle Lowry 30. So he's going to, you know what I mean? That's definitely going to have to be in play, you would imagine, because Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, these guys aren't making money for that.
Yeah, they don't make enough money to just do it like one-on-one. You have to include somebody in that deal that has enough money behind them to get that deal done.
But now that I'm thinking, and while I'm not some Danny Green fan, I understand his role. I know what he is. If you lose him and gain Kyle Lowry, I don't feel as good about it. You know, like I think if you add Danny Green to this team, to this squad now with Danny Green, I feel way better about the jump you're taking. But I know that might be now, make me an outlier now because Danny Green is getting the heat. He's someone that gets ripped every night, but I value what he brings to the table. You lose him and add Kyle Lowry, well, you still gain some, but you don't gain as much. And I don't know if now that moves.
Well, you're also
losing
losing a championship pedigree, a veteran player who, has been pretty valuable. And I thought that we talked about it with Hudrick on Friday's show. He really did a good job of explaining certain little basketball intricacies that I don't know that the common fan is paying attention to, but even when Green doesn't make the shot, or when he doesn't take the shot, I should say, he has very good basketball IQ and knows how to move off the ball when he doesn't have the ball in his hands. In other words, some guys will start to gravitate towards where the ball is. Green knows to get opposite the ball, get himself deep in the corner as far as he can go. He knows floor spacing even when he doesn't have the ball. And I think that's a spot where Matisse has to get better at. Those are little things that aren't valued as much by just people watching a game on Tuesday night in February. But I think Green is very good there. His defense is definitely down. He was a very good defensive player a couple of years ago. In the fourth quarter, he looks like an older player sometimes.
Yeah, he does. And I'm just looking here. He plays about 28 and a half minutes. It's a little strong for my liking. I'd like him more in that, 21, 22,
How many
23.
minutes did he play last year?
He played 24.
There you go.
Yes, I want him more in that category. And
if I can get him in that 22-minute range.
This is the most he has played since he was 27 years old. Yeah, that's telling you a lot. So
he looks like it some nights.
Yeah, I agree.
His defense in the fourth quarter, it looks like he's lumbering a little bit late in some of those games.
He's shooting 40% from 38.5% from three right now.
Which is good.
Yeah.
If you can hit 38%, I can't really.
He shot 36 last year, so he's actually up a tick from last season.
What did he shoot in the year that the Raptors won the title?
45 and a half.
From three?
From three.
You got to be kidding.
45 and a half from three. Swear to God. In 2018 with Toronto.
Wow.
Yeah, that was his best season.
I would imagine.
Well, no, when he played with the when he played with the Spurs, he was in the 40s a bunch of 4 seasons in a row, but not 45 and a half. Wow.
Yeah, if you're hitting 45%, I can't get rid of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, you're right. He is a veteran player who I have to consider, do I want to give him up? Now, if I'm getting a veteran player who's a championship pedigree, your point is I'd rather not have to give Green up to get Lowry. I'd give up one of the younger players.
Yeah, I would, because you're in win now mode. These younger players, they're more of big picture, more of this developmental side of things, but I would still do it. If you told me it costed me Danny Green to get Kyle Lowry, I do think it's an upgrade, but in terms of it's not as much of an upgrade losing Danny Green. And I just know that he's somewhat that face right now. Everyone hates him. He's that guy that everyone's ripping apart every night. He stinks. He's embarrassing. But I always go back to, you hated Al Horford. You wanted Al Horford gone. You thought that Al Horford contract was untouchable. There's a reason why Danny Green came back in the trade for Al Horford. What did you expect to get from Al Horford? What you got for him, it should be understood.
Well, you shouldn't have expected to get anything more so than relief.
Which you do after this season.
Right. That was the trade for Horford, was to create cap relief for future seasons so that you weren't tied to this Horford contract for the next 3 seasons. It was to get yourselves out from that. Anything you got back in return to help you win basketball games was gravy. And they got Danny Green back. He's helping them win basketball games right now. So now the question is, can I spin Danny Green off to get more help? Or has he become a valuable piece that I don't want to spin him off?
If he has to be moved, he's clearly not playing up to his standard to say that he's someone that I don't want to move on from. Like, deep down, I don't want to, but I understand why you would and why you would have to financially to bring in a piece. So it's almost as if I don't want to, but I realize that it's probably the most realistic thing to do to acquire another player to help this team out. I do think Kyle Lowry is an upgrade, but it's not, it makes this less of an impactful move when you have to move on from Danny Green with you.
Well, and another thing is, too, let's say, because somebody's going to have to go that has salary. right? Somebody has to go that has salary.
Ferguson is another name, but I don't know if people would even be – that would be the throw-in salary-wise.
Well, I guess my question is, someone has to go with a salary, but what is Toronto looking to get back? They want younger players. I mean, this is a team that's won – they've been playing pretty well. They've won to where they are now above 500 after their horrible start. They're now the 5 seed in the East. They're over 500. I don't know if they look at themselves as a championship contender, or do they look at themselves as we would like to get younger while making a nice playoff run if we can?
Well, does it go back to this Eastern Conference maybe not having those unbelievable talented teams? Now that they're playing better basketball, do they see themselves as a team that's in the mix with Philadelphia, in the mix with the Brooklyn Nets, in the mix with Milwaukee? Do they see themselves that way now that they're starting to win basketball games? Look, they were the first team this season to truly have a game plan to make Joel Embiid uncomfortable. Do they value what they did last night and say, hold on a second, before we move Kyle Lowry, let's assess where we are right now? Because this Eastern Conference isn't that powerful.
By the way, according to the NBA CBA, you can trade a player on your roster after 30 days to any NBA team except for where they were.
Okay,
so he cannot go back to the Lakers or the Thunder because they were the two teams he played for. Lowry makes $30.5 million, and he's an expiring contract. So that's also attractive to the Sixers because you would get that contract and then get it off the books.
Right, but the names that you're talking about, in Danny Green, he comes off the books anyway. If Ferguson's thrown in there, he's off the books anyway. Mike Scott makes about $5 million. I believe he's off the books after this as well. So when you look at all that, anyone that you would be giving up for him is also coming off the book. So I don't know if that's that much of a trade-off. You know what I mean? Like, why would you value Kyle Lowry coming off the books if anyone you trade for?
No, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
you're making a trade for a guy that is – the whole point was to get out from under this money of Horford.
Yeah.
And that's why you brought Danny Green here, is because that got you out. You wouldn't be bringing a guy back that is going to resaddle you is what I was
that makes a lot more sense. Yeah, I totally agree. That would be
it's not going to put you under we got this contract for another 2 years because we tried to go for it this season. I think all the teams at the top right now, Sixers, Nets, Lakers, Clippers, they all kind of feel like there's a little window there that they can sneak through to get to a finals. I definitely feel that way.
Do you think that maybe Daryl Morey would look at Kyle Lowry as more than just a one-year thing? Now, he'll be 35 next year. The big paydays are over. Do you think that, hey, you bring a guy in, Philadelphia, he's from here, you have the opportunity to win a championship here. Could this be more of a, hey, look, Kyle, we want you for more than the back half of this season. We'll bring you back and you can be that veteran piece and we can go win a championship.
Probably. I mean, he's almost scoring 18 points a game this year. It's not like he's
banged up right now.
Yeah, he didn't play last night, but I'm saying he's shooting 39% from three. He's scoring almost 18 points a game. At 34 years old, I'm saying to people out there, it's not like this guy is all of a sudden fallen down off a cliff, and that's why the Raptors are trying to trade him. I think the Raptors are a 500 team right now, and maybe they don't feel that they have a championship window this particular season. So why not try to move him in an expiring contract because they don't think maybe they're not willing to pay him another big payday, or they don't think they can bring him back, or maybe they think they could trade him, get something, and then get him back in the offseason.
Yeah, you made a great point, though. Why would they want Danny Green? Why would they want Mike Scott? Why would they want any of these players? Because all the numbers
I think it would be more about getting the younger player.
You'd have to slide one in there, right? It would be a Danny Green, maybe a Mike Scott, and then a Tyrese Maxey.
Now, Josh is on the trade machine over there. He said, Danny Green, Mike Scott, Ferguson, that's $24 million. You need more money to send those guys in the deal. So, yeah, you have to send, I would imagine, if you're getting Lowry, you are sending Matisse Thybulle, Tyrese Maxey, Shake Milton. One of those three is got to be included in that deal. Because if I'm the Raptors, I don't want Danny Green, I don't want Mike Scott, and I don't want Ferguson. They're not helping me. They're not relieving me of anything. I'm losing Lowry at the end of the year anyway. His contract's expiring. So you're not giving me anything that's helping my team this year. You're not giving me anything that's helping my team down the road. So if that's what you're giving me, I might as well just keep Lowry and see how far I can get this year. If I'm making a trade for Lowry, somebody in that deal has to be someone I want for the future.
Okay, so because we all agree, and based off the rotation, Tyrese Maxey is not going to have that much of an impact on this run here. But in terms of Shake Milton and Matisse Thybulle, which one of those is more valuable to this playoff run? Would you think it's Shake with that 14 points per game or so? Or do you think that it's Matisse Thybulle with this insane, unique defensive skill set? Because they both bring such an important piece.
One guy's more valuable offensively. The other guy's more valuable defensively.
But if you're trading for Lowry, do you need Shake Milton?
No.
That's where I'm getting at here. I'd rather give up Shake Milton and keep Matisse Thybulle, even though Matisse is very limited on that offensive side. I think what he brings to you is so unique that maybe Kyle Lowry makes up for what you lose in Shake if he's in that deal.
What about this deal? Chris Hernandez watching on Facebook. Do you think someone like Rondo would help that second unit like he did for the Lakers last year?
A lot of people bring that up with the ties of Doc, and he does have better three-point shooting. Now, he was taking threes in the bubble last year during the NBA Finals.
He is
at a reasonable rate.
He has expanded his game a little bit more from where he used to be a Ben Simmons, where he just didn't shoot at all. A little bit more than Ben did, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, I mean, if Rondo could come in and help out this team, I would absolutely not be against it. I would be okay with a Rondo being a backup point guard to help out the second unit. I don't have an issue. I don't know how it would hurt.
Yeah, I'm not giving anything of substance up.
Sure, I agree with you.
If you're getting Lowry, Josh just added Korkmaz to the trade. Again, they don't want Korkmaz. They don't want any of these four players.
What? They don't want Korkmaz?
No, these four players that Josh included in this deal, the only one that would go there would be Green because of the money. You've got to find a deal that includes Green that also includes either Milton, Thybulle, or Maxey.
Yeah.
One or two of those guys are going to have to be included in that deal along with Green, I would imagine. Now, what's Mike Scott make?
$5 million.
That's not enough.
No.
So,
it helps, though, if you package it in, but it's not enough.
Right. But, okay, so you can either go Danny Green with Thybulle, Maxey, Milton, one of those guys, and I don't even know if that's enough money. Or you can go Mike Scott, Ferguson, Korkmaz, and try to get three people to get you to Green's contract and then add another player in. So if I'm Toronto, I'd probably say, I'll just take Green. I know him. He's a good professional player. He's won a championship here. Let's bring him into this mix rather than saying, give me Mike Scott, Ferguson, and Korkmaz. So I think Danny Green's going to have to be included in any deal that you're targeting to get Lowry.
Yeah, and the problem is, as I'm looking it up here, Shake Milton makes 1.7.
Not enough.
Matisse Thybulle makes 2 point something. Like, these younger guys, they make nothing. So how you're going to match that 30? You're going to have to trust Daryl Morey, which of course we do, but it's not going to be easy.
2:45 on the Sports Bash. Hudrick will join us at 3:20 for today's Inside the Sixers. Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. Got so much going on. Flyers last night, dumpster. The whole weekend for them was a dumpster. Well, Thursday night wasn't the weekend, but it felt like the weekend because they looked like they were out all night long playing against the Rangers. And then they come back on Sunday and got lamped. Now, I said they were going to lose 6-1. What was the final, 7-3?
Something like that.
Well, I give 2 goals to the Flyers for sun in the goalie's eyes.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So 6-1, give or take, I was pretty much.
Yeah, very reasonable logic here. I can see that.
They had sun in their eyes. It was like a pitcher having these shadows with a batter in a day game.
Unbelievable. That was garbage.
The NHL had a bad weekend. It was supposed to be good, and we'll get into it coming up. Sports Bash Live. Continue your conversation over on the StreamYard page. Watch the show live on our website, 973ESPN.com. And, of course, download the free mobile app. You can watch the show right on your phone.
There's never an off season for the NFL. It's football at 4 every day at 4 p.m. on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Kendall Auto Plaza offers the area's best car and truck buying experience with 60 years of customer satisfaction and community service. What's on their 100-acre lot? A huge inventory of Ford, Lincoln, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, and over 100 quality and certified pre-owned vehicles. Whether you use your car, truck, or SUV for work or play, discover why Kendall customers are so loyal. Kendall Auto Plaza, exit 10 of the Parkway on Stone Harbor Boulevard, or shop from home at KendallAutoplaza.com.
If you're struggling with a drug or alcohol addiction, now is the time to take action and get professional help. Call Recovery Centers of America at 1-888-RECOVERY today. You are worthy of recovery from your addiction, and calling RCA will be your first step in getting the help you need. Recovery Centers of America answers the phone and admits patients 24/7. And because safety is a top priority, all patients and staff are routinely tested for COVID-19. RCA's expert team of physicians and medical professionals will treat you with compassion and dignity and provide an evidence-based treatment plan that is custom-tailored to your specific needs. Recovery Centers of America at Devon and Lighthouse are local and in-network with insurance providers, so they're best-in-class inpatient and outpatient care, offered both in-person and via teletherapy, is affordable and accessible. Make this the year you conquer your addiction. Call today, 1-888-RECOVERY. That's 1-888-RECOVERY.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Broadly's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning makes it easy to upgrade to the most energy-efficient equipment. And for a limited time, Broadly's is giving you a free furnace with the purchase of a high-efficiency AC system. 0% financing and rebates from the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities. And its clean energy program mean even greater savings. Don't miss out on Broadly's free furnace frenzy. Certain restrictions apply. Call Broadly's at 609-390-3907 or visit broadleys.net. Your trusted source for 3 generations.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea. What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Listen to that 290 horsepower iVTEC V6 engine. That's a double wishbone front suspension. Nah, that's not our supercar. That's the all-new 3-row Acura MDX. It's only natural to confuse the fully redesigned MDX with the NSX because they share more in common than you think. It's a premium 3-row SUV with supercar DNA. Acura. Let's talk more drive.
For attractive offers on the entire Acura lineup, visit your Delaware Valley Acura dealer today.
This season's hottest collection is dropping just in time for lunch. Meat Church's new all-white meat Texas tenders, accessorized with butterfly shrimp. Snag your Texas tenders and shrimp meal for just $5. Church's bringing that down-home flavor. Offer valid at participating locations.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
251 on the Sports Bash. Mike and Brodes with you. League sources say the Sixers are seeking major moves. Major moves with an S, Brodes. That means it could be more than just one. One name they mentioned was Kyle Lowry, but I don't know. The indication there is there could be more, right?
Yeah. Could you imagine if that major move was Ben Simmons out of nowhere?
I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's played well enough over the last 2 weeks to kind of say, all right, I don't think they wanted to move him to begin with.
I agree with you. I'm just having some fun with it.
I think they would have done it for Harden. I'm not saying they wouldn't have. And if they could get Bradley Beal, I think they may think about it, although he's maybe changed their mind on that a little bit more recently. But I don't think there's any other. We talked about this about a month ago. What players in the NBA would you trade Ben Simmons for?
Not many. Damian Lillard's one, though. I love Dame. Dude, he's unbelievable. But there's very few. On one hand, for sure. 3 guys, 4 guys, if that. So not many.
Right. There's maybe 2 or 3,
Yeah.
if that. I mean, taking out LeBron, taking out, Kevin Durant, taking out the big boys. You're talking about guys who were legitimately tradable. If someone said, hey, we want Ben Simmons, we have so-and-so. How many guys in this league would you trade for Ben Simmons? It's not too many.
He had 28 points on 11 field goals. That's insane. That's because he's knocking down his free throws.
Right. Get into the free throw line. I've said it over the years. I don't care if he shoots, but if you're not going to shoot, you need to get to the line more. If you get to the line 10 to 12 times, and even if you only shoot 50%,
which he's doing at like an 80% clip right now, which is crazy.
Right, which is why you're seeing his scoring average go up, because even he only got to the line 5 times. Well, if you're shooting 50%, that's only 2.5 extra points. You get to the line 10 times, your scoring average all of a sudden goes from like 18 points a game. If you make half of those, you're going up to 20 points a game. If you make 70% of them, you're up to 21 or 22 points a game. That's how he's going to get his scoring average to go up. Be the guy who gets to the line, make your free throws.
Yeah.
Shoot 75, 80% from the line. I'm not asking you to be 95%, 85%. Shoot 75% from the line. Ben Simmons can score 22 a night.
Yep, he went 10 of 14 yesterday from the free throw line, and you can see it. He just looks confident. He looks poised. He wants to be there. The Sam Cassell dynamic is clearly starting to really play out. You can see that he feels better with the stroke, with the flow of the form, and also just amazing to watch him play right now. This is the Ben Simmons that, I fell in love with throughout times, and we've seen him play this way before. It's just the consistency side of things, and hopefully this month allows him. He talked about the mindset change. Maybe this is that growing part of the game that, he becomes more consistent with.
Well, and Hudrick brought it up, I think, about a week or two ago. Hey, he had that knee problem. He was coming back from, he had the back problem last year that he came back from in the bubble. Then he got the knee problem, and then he was learning a new offense. Like, there was a little bit, I think, of growing pains coming back and getting back into the flow. He's got some new teammates around him, but I think he's reading these teammates a lot better. He knows his role a lot better, and I think you're seeing that now. And look, this is where I give, the assistant coaching staff that they brought in here. He's really taken to like Sam Cassell and having that guy that can, and I said, the one thing about Brett that I think you can definitely criticize, I don't know if this is Brett's fault, but I don't think his staff was very veteran-like. You know what I mean? He did not have a veteran coaching staff. And, you get who you can get in here. And I think that was a problem.
Yeah, he didn't have a veteran coaching staff, but he did have a coaching staff that got plucked a little bit, which is interesting. But I'm with you. There are guys that went from his staff to being a head coach. So he did have that, but he did not have the power of a coaching staff that we see here now. This could arguably be one of the best in the league.
I like this comment from Tom Lazar. I like Ben. He's a rare talent.
Simple.
Right?
Just a simple comment.
Very well stated there, Tom. I like Ben. He's a rare talent. It's like Rain Man, the movie Rain Man. There you go. I like my underwear from where did he get his underwear?
I have no clue. Mark Zumoff didn't know a Waterboy reference yesterday, though, and Allah threw Bobby Boucher at him. I'm like, whoa, come on, Zoo. Waterboy? Come on.
I saw people tweeting about it. I didn't hear it. I missed it. It must have gone over my head. I wasn't paying attention. Hudrick at 3:20. Back with more.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Simmons, he's going to lay it up and in. Embiid with a block at one end, and Simmons like a freight train. Getting the layup.
The Sixers are in Tampa to face the Raptors tomorrow. Coverage begins at 7:30. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN.
On some models excludes Corvette with GMF financing. Excludes prior sales. See dealer for details.
It's President's Day all month long at Bennett Chevrolet with our biggest, boldest, best deals ever. Saving you up to 25% off MSRP on brand new vehicles. Right now, Bennett Chevy is selling brand new vehicles at GM supplier employee pricing. Plus, you keep all the rebates that can save you as much as 25% off MSRP. But there's even more ways to save with 0% financing available. Plus, if you're looking for pre-owned, Bennett will pay you a minimum $7,000 for your trade towards any pre-owned in stock. That's a minimum $7,000 for your trade, no matter its condition. Imagine how much more you'll get for a good trade. And once you've dealt with our non-commissioned sales team, you'll rave about the wonderful experience with no need to negotiate and no hassles, because our team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. It's President's Day all this month at Bennett. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
If you're an athlete or live an active lifestyle, aches and pains can be part of the game. That's where Trifecta Therapeutics comes into play. Trifecta Therapeutics is a premier sports rehabilitation physical therapy center located centrally for anyone in South Jersey, right in Glassboro. Their team of the highest skilled docs takes a unique approach to physical therapy and rehab. Whether you're a weekend warrior or a finely tuned athlete, they treat the pros and the Joes. To find out more about Trifecta Therapeutics and how they can help you, check out trifectatherapeutics.com.
If you own a small business, you know how hard it can be to find new customers. Now, Town Square Media has new tools that can help your business stand out and grow. Go to GetLocalCustomersNow.com for a free competitive analysis that will show you what other businesses are doing to find new customers and how you can do it too with Town Square Media. Be one of the first business owners to sign up and receive $500 in free advertising on this station. Start growing your business today. Visit GetLocalCustomersNow.com. That's GetLocalCustomersNow.com.
It's not quite March, but that doesn't mean the college basketball fun has to wait. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is giving all new players the chance to bet $1 on any team to hit a three-pointer in any basketball game this week. And if your team makes it rain, you cash $100. That's right. All it takes is for one three-pointer being hit by your chosen team to turn $1 into $100. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code 973 to get your shot to turn $1 into $100 when you bet on any team to hit a three-pointer in any basketball game this week. That's code 973 for new customers only at DraftKings Sportsbook. That's code 973. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. Winnings paid out in 4 $25 free bets. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Listening to this Allstate commercial about savings might be the hardest thing about getting those savings. Save for simply becoming an Allstate customer. Save more for adding DriveWise. And save even more for driving safely. Visit Allstate.com or contact your local agent for a quote today. Allstate. Minimum effort, maximum reward.
Not available in every state. New customer savings based on early signing discount. Drivewise is an optional feature. Savings vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
You have the choice, whether it's going out for dinner or ordering takeout at a local restaurant or buying that new outfit from a local boutique. Those choices help to put money back into your community. And Town Square Media South Jersey puts a spotlight on local businesses.
First Bank of Sea Isle City, Cape May County's community bank.
Dr. Lyle M. Back for everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery. Go to ilovelylback.com.
Egg Harbor Independent French Leader at Charles Schwab in the Consumer Square Shopping Plaza.
Filling Marble and Tile Outlet, Philadelphia Avenue and Route 30 in Egg Harbor City. FillingMarble.com.
Intuitive Women's Health in Summers Point, accepting new patients. Schedule an appointment today at intuitivewomenshealth.net.
East Coast Roofing, Siding, and Windows services all of South Jersey. If you call, they'll show up. Call East Coast today at 609-646-1444. Online at eastcoastroofing.com.
Thank you for supporting your local businesses. From Town Square Media, South Jersey.
South Jersey's play-by-play home for the Eagles,
Touchdown!
Sixers, and Flyers.
He scored!
97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square Media station. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
All right, hour 2 of the Sports Bash live on 97.3 ESPN. Mike Brodes till 6 o'clock tonight. And, of course, you out there. If you are watching the show live at 97.3 ESPN.com, we appreciate you jumping on board. I want to let you know this hour of the show, new sponsor of the show, we thank them, Cross County Connect. Let's get to work, South Jersey. Today, commuting challenges aren't just an inconvenience. They affect the quality of life, independence, and mobility. Cross County Connection, the region's Transportation Management Association, is dedicated to improving your quality of life in South Jersey through transportation solutions. Online at driveless.com. Let Cross County Connection help you get there. Call them 856-596-8228. All right, I want you to explain to me, because you're the hockey guy on this program, Okay? Was that good, bad, indifferent for the league over the weekend?
I think, unfortunately, it was bad. I don't think the idea was bad. I think the execution was bad. I was seeing all kinds of things that, if you research the time of day on that area that they were playing the game.
It's on a golf course.
And how much sun hits that spot. It's in what world would you think that would be a good idea? So, did you research enough? I think what they wanted to do was an awesome idea, but the execution was just miserable. They had the first game. They played the first period. 8 hours later, they finished the game.
Well, so I did the Camden game on Saturday. So I was up there, had no idea, got in the car, and I got and looked at Twitter, and I said, this game has been postponed till midnight.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? So was the ice that bad?
Yeah, they were falling. Refs were falling. The ice was soft, so you couldn't skate on it.
It was melting.
Yeah, pretty much.
All right, so this is why they don't do these.
They did it in Texas, though, and it worked out perfectly. Now,
when?
Last year, I think they did a Stadium Series game down in Dallas. It was Dallas versus Nashville, and it worked out pretty solid.
Okay, so when did they, what time of the year, and when did they play the game?
Right. Yeah, Josh will look up the details.
Was it a night game? That's the problem is, on the East Coast, if you want to get the East Coast viewers, you can't play that game at 7 o'clock because it's a 10 o'clock East Coast game.
Right. The second and third period yesterday for the Flyers, I thought was doable in terms of sun, but that first period was egregious. How they even played that first period was a joke. Now, it doesn't help that you have two AHL defensemen playing as your forwards. I mean, what people they can't even beat this team.
Sam Moran impression?
No, God, no. Him and Friedman were. But here's an interesting stat.
Friedman was playing wing?
Yeah. That's what you had to do. Look, Carter Hart's been bad, though. There's no denying it. And here's a stat for you.
Is he giving up bad goals or has he got bad defense?
Both. That's the problem. I think half of it would be himself, and then the other half is...
There's a lot of people saying, I hope he's not Carson Wentz.
I don't even understand.
And it's the whole, is the offensive line bad or is Wentz bad? Are guys not open or is he just missing them?
It's both, and that's what it was the same with Wentz. It's he sucked and everything else sucked. Well, with Hart, he's sucking and everyone else is sucking. So Carter Hart has allowed 20 goals against the Bruins this season, 0-2-2, 5.3 goals against. But against every other team in the East Division, he's 5-1-1 with the 2.73 goals against average.
It's been horrible against Boston.
Yeah, well, they just keep coming back, and whenever they're up, they have just this. It's like the Toronto Raptors. The Sixers team's 5-25 in their last 30 against the Raptors or something crazy like that.
Yeah, and somebody said the last time they won in Toronto, Doug Collins was the coach, which is not accurate.
Yeah, that was on the broadcast.
They won a playoff game.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
But
can you imagine that Brett Brown actually went into Toronto and won a playoff game? The worst coach in the world.
No.
Won a playoff game in Toronto.
Impossible.
They played New Year's Day 2020 at the Cotton Bowl. The puck drop was 1 o'clock Eastern time, so it was noon out there. I don't know what the temperature is in the Cotton Bowl that time of the year, but I'm a little surprised to hear that was a 1 o'clock Eastern. Because the problem if it was a West Coast game, that's a 10 o'clock in the morning game.
Yeah, no, that's the problem too with the time change and all. It's, I didn't think it was I asked Durso this: was this unlucky or was this just a mess from the game plan?
Thoughts?
He thought it was a little he thought it was a disaster, but he thought it was unlucky with the weather and all. If it wasn't that sunny of a day,
let me ask you
wouldn't
this.
have the problem.
The game was originally at 3 o'clock here, 3 o'clock our time. So they were going to play the game at what noon? What are they? Are they Mountain time?
3 hour difference.
Are we sure?
I'm pretty positive it was a 3 hour difference.
Okay, so it would have been a noon game, right?
Right now there it's 12:06.
I didn't know if Vegas was Mountain time or you got that wonky little mountain area where it's 2 hours.
Yeah, always weird.
There's not too many people who go by Mountain time, but I didn't know if Lake Tahoe was one of them. But so you're looking at a noon puck drop out there. Then they moved the game to 2. Right?
Yeah.
Then Saturday around 5 o'clock at night, I'm driving back from Camden, and I get the text. I saw the tweet from Durso, and I told Josh, I said, "Yo, the game got moved to 7:30 on Sunday nights." So this is the third time. This is the second time they've changed the time of that game, and I guess now that it's 4:30 out there. So I guess they were trying to get less sun.
Yeah.
So what they ended up getting was the bulk of the sun for one period blasting you.
Yeah, it was brutal.
At that point, they should have just played the game at 8:30.
Yeah, I know. I was thinking the same thing. And when you see the goalies wearing sunglasses to stop the puck in warmups, How do you allow this to happen?
I know. I saw
mean?
Carter Hart had eye black on.
Yeah, well,
he
the
looked
eye
like
black,
a center fielder.
The eye black's good style, but like I even think that's kind of crazy. I know we're switching gears a little bit with these sunglasses though, but could you hit wearing sunglasses in baseball? Because I can never do that.
I can't. I'm not a sunglass guy.
No, but even like I couldn't imagine. I can wear them normally, but to hit a baseball,
No.
I couldn't imagine doing it at all.
No, I am not a sunglass guy. So no, I don't know how guys go up to bat with sunglasses on.
Right.
I don't even like wearing them in the field. Like, I know they help like a first baseman who needs to like protect from the sun, but like I don't even think I could wear them like playing if I was playing in the outfield.
Yeah, I would agree with you. But I just wanted to tie that to when you see your goalie wearing the sunglasses in warm-ups, I think you got a sun problem.
So the average temperature in the Dallas area on June 1st is a high of 56 and a low of 39. Now, 56 is going to be a problem.
Yeah.
For the ice.
Yeah, it would be a problem. But they have enough science and, you know what I mean? They have enough to understand what they can do and what they can't do. That's why it blows my mind that this occurred the way it did.
Did we ever figure out or get the answer to, did they play the game there because there was no fans?
Yeah, that is why they did it. Yeah.
There was never like an intention of, we're going to play games there, and if the fans were allowed, that they would have allowed fans there. There was no thought of that would be a venue to hold fans.
No, definitely not. It was just all scenery. And even as a hockey guy that loves pond hockey and all, cool scenery, didn't do much for me, though. Yeah, I just feel like maybe the outdoor games are so watered down that like there's 6 a year, 5 a year here and there. It used to be cool when it was the Winter Classic. 1 a year, you get the 2 teams. It's awesome. Now there's so many. It's not as cool. Like I didn't watch that game and think, damn, this is awesome. I thought, wow, the Flyers stink. That's what I thought.
Fair point.
Yeah, this team stinks.
Well, I mean, I will say, like,
yeah, I know,
my
they're not
girlfriend's son, he's like, they're playing outside. Like, he thought it was kind of cool and different.
Yeah, it is. I guess maybe it's just me with my bias of hockey. It's okay. It's another one of those.
Yeah, you got to stop being biased.
I hate when that happens.
Yeah, you got to open up your horizons. And other people, like, they're not always
I don't like other people.
They're not marketing the game for you. They're marketing for others who...
Well, are you saying the NHL is doing a good marketing decision?
Well, I think the intention was good. You don't?
I do. I do think the intention was good. But the problem is execution matters just as much.
It does. I mean, okay, so let me ask you. They scheduled these. There was a game on Saturday. Was there 2 Saturday? One Saturday and one on Sunday. And once the game's ice was so bad, are you suggesting that they should have just canceled the whole thing?
The first game?
Yeah. Because they end up coming back at midnight East time, but that over there is 9 o'clock, so it's reasonable to say, hey, we got to finish this game.
I probably wouldn't have. No, because there's so much that goes into that.
They even have lights there?
Yeah, they do. They have stadium lights as if you're going to a baseball game. And
so
you're
how did they have
lights.
the lights there for 2 games that were supposed to be scheduled for the daytime?
They probably had this prepared as if, okay, if this is a dumpster fire, we'll push it back.
So they had a plan B.
They did have a plan B.
I'll give them credit for that.
Yeah, I didn't mind. Like, the way the second game played out, it was at least manageable. You know, like, it was ugly in the first period, but you played all 3 periods, and the game was played. There you go. You got the job accomplished. The first was a nightmare.
There's been some of these outdoor games where the team at the halfway point of the 3rd period, they got to switch sides.
Yeah, because of the sun glare, you have to make it even.
Awful.
Yeah, well, that's at least I mean, whatever. Is that the worst case scenario in the world?
I'm just saying. So there have been hiccups. You're playing the game outdoors. It's a gimmicky situation. You got to expect some kind of, like, I don't know. The NHL was getting bombarded.
Yeah, they were.
And I mean, they tried something.
They did. Well, maybe we'll see it again.
I mean, theoretically, you might say, why aren't they playing more games outdoors? Because you could get fans. Weren't some teams talking about doing this?
Yeah, I would like to see, maybe instead of Lake Tahoe, why don't they try and do something in like Lake Louise, like Alberta? Like I went up there, like go somewhere cold for where it makes sense. Up in Canada, Winnipeg, it's like negative 25.
Well, there were some teams. I forget. I think it was the Penguins were one of them. I think might have been the Flyers. I thought it was definitely the Penguins that were talking about playing a handful of games outdoors so that they could get fans.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I'm sure that that's something the NHL has discussed, especially now, but they're also starting to open up their buildings, as we alluded to.
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see how it all plays out. But
yeah, I mean, look, there was some great pictures.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, the mountains, it was beautiful. I mean, scenery-wise, it was everything you were looking for.
It was on the 18th green at a golf course.
Could you imagine? 4! Here comes a golf ball in the middle of the game. It just like hits Sean Couturier in the head.
The little setup they had around like, I guess it must have been like a press box.
Yeah.
I mean, it was kind of, it was definitely neat, but, you know, I don't know. The NHL tried to do something good and.
Classic NHL.
It's like they couldn't win, though.
What if it worked out perfectly?
The Flyers game didn't work. I mean,
you're right. The Flyers game, quote, worked out perfectly, I guess, because they played periods 1 through 3 without having to wait 8 hours.
Right. It's just you're watching the game and the sun's hitting half the ice, and you're like, this is a disaster.
I know. I couldn't imagine playing I played in the outdoor game when they played at Citizens Bank Park. I was -2. It was on TV, and not my greatest outing, but. Yeah, tough day at the office. But
what are you, a -4?
No, I was -2. I was -2. It was on NHL Network because the team we were playing, the head coach was LaFontaine, and they did a show called Making of a Royal. So we played against them. And Justin Bailey was on the other team. I have so many stories of kids I played against that I would say, you suck, you're going nowhere. Now they're all playing in the end. Connor Clifton's one of them. Justin Bailey. It's great. Classic stories.
There was 4 teams, by the way, that talked about playing outdoor games for fan attendance. It was Anaheim, Boston, L.A., and Pittsburgh.
Anaheim. What are you doing out there? No one cares about the Ducks. Does anyone care about the Ducks? Is there one Ducks fan out there in the world?
I don't know why Anaheim needs its own teams, but that
you're right. Angels. Like, who the hell cares about these teams?
No, but there was a question. I'm glad you brought that up. There was a question on Twitter yesterday, real quick, because I answered the question, and it was kind of there was a reason why I answered it. Let me bring it up real fast. Did you see this question that I'm speaking of?
No. Did you quote tweet it?
Yes.
Okay. I did see something, but it's not coming to my head.
All right. So the question from CBS Sports: name an athlete you watched play before they became famous. All right. So I've seen a bunch because, you know, I've done a lot of play-by-play for like high school basketball. Like I did a game with Karl Anthony Towns. The problem was Karl Anthony Towns was already famous when he was in high school.
Right.
So do I count that?
Yeah, I do, because there's a difference between being like a prospect known guy and then like NBA stardom.
All right. Well, he would be one. But the most famous athlete I've watched play before they were famous is Mike Trout. The problem was I watched him play basketball, not baseball.
Oh, that doesn't count. That's a good one, though. That's pretty funny. That doesn't count, though. Or should it? Josh, do you think it counts as watching him play?
Would that be?
You do.
Yeah, I mean, I watched him play. It was just a different sport.
No, I can't say that that's something that I can get behind. We might have to ask the people. Because you can't. That's like if I said, I watched Johnny Gaudreau play kickball. What does that mean?
That's not a real sport.
What if I watched him play soccer? Because I watched him play.
That would be it.
So that counts. See, I don't think that should count.
High school sport.
That's flawed.
I'm not.
He played high school soccer back in the
kickball.
I know.
Soccer,
high school soccer.
Yes, if you said I saw Johnny Gaudreau play
high school soccer.
The question was, name a. Let me bring it back up.
But that's not cool. That's like saying,
name an athlete you watched play before they became famous.
Okay, if you ran into a musician, let's say I ran into Drake, and there's a setting where I watch him sing and perform, and then there's another setting where I watch him drink a cup of coffee. 2 different scenarios. He's not doing the act that he's good at when I see him in the one scenario. Therefore, it changes everything about seeing that person. I don't support this. This is flawed.
All right, what do you guys think out there? Does that count? Name, and you guys can send us yours as well, because I thought this was a really cool question. Name an athlete you watched play before they became famous. And my answer would be Mike Trout. But I watched him play basketball, I never saw him play baseball in high school, but I watched him play basketball. He's a heck of a little rebounder.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, working hard on the glass, huh?
Now, I mean, like I said, I called a game for Karl Anthony Towns. They played Atlantic City in, I think it was a tournament champions or maybe before that. No, it's tournament champions. I'm trying to think there's a couple other high
there were
school
some other
basketball
New
players.
Jersey guys, like Kyrie Irving, I guess maybe never crossed paths.
I never called a game with Kyrie. Karl Anthony Towns, I think, in my head, is the most famously known, the number 1 pick in the draft, for God's sake.
Yeah, I would say that's your answer.
That.
Mike Trout should never even be mentioned.
Who's more popular?
I would say Mike Trout.
You think?
Yeah.
I think more kids probably know Karl Anthony Towns.
Man, Mike Trout's the best player in baseball.
Yeah, but baseball's the worst player at letting you know that.
Over the
Sports
NHL.
Fest this hour is brought to you by Cross County Connect. Call them at 856-596-8286. This is the Sports Bash. When we come back, it's inside the Sixers. I'm going to post that question up on the screen so people can get involved, and then Brodes and I will kind of go back and forth, because I'm sure you have a lot too.
Yeah,
I
the problem
there
is
are probably hockey players that played kickball.
There's a lot of like my teammates and former people I played against. So does that count if you're in the same league with these guys and then they end up becoming significantly better than you?
We'll let the people decide. Coming up.
There's never an off season for the NFL. It's football at 4 every day at 4 p.m. on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Dorothy Roofing, it's a heart and a brain thing. Call 1-877-97-KEVIN. Wizard quality comes with DorothyRoofing.com.
On some models excludes Corvette. With GMF financing, excludes prior sales. See dealer for details.
It's President's Day all month long at Bennett Chevrolet with our biggest, boldest, best deals ever, saving you up to 25% off MSRP on brand new vehicles. Right now, Bennett Chevy is selling brand new vehicles at GM supplier employee pricing. Plus, you keep all the rebates that can save you as much as 25% off MSRP. But there's even more ways to save with 0% financing available. Plus, if you're looking for pre-owned, Bennett will pay you a minimum $7,000 for your trade towards any pre-owned in stock. That's a minimum $7,000 for your trade, no matter its condition. Imagine how much more you'll get for a good trade. And once you've dealt with our non-commissioned sales team, you'll rave about the wonderful experience with no need to negotiate and no hassles, because our team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. It's President's Day all this month at Bennett. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Hello, Cape May County. This is County Commissioner Len Desiderio, co-chair of the County Recovery Task Force. We know that there are a lot of questions about the COVID vaccination. Please go to capemaycountynj.gov for information and to register in the state system. The beginning of this effort has been very challenging as we wait for the federal and state governments to implement distribution. But we already lead the state in vaccine administration, and we are ready to expand our efforts as soon as the state distributes larger amounts of vaccine to us. Please go to capemaycountynj.gov and click to register, and check back often for more information. You will then be notified by the state when your turn comes about how to schedule your appointment. Go to capemaycountynj.gov and register now. Please go to capemaycountynj.gov for information and to register in the state system. Let's vaccinate safely together.
Guys, breakfast.
How do you do it?
The kids or everything else?
Hey, are those
new phones? Got 2 truly unlimited lines from Walmart Family Mobile. Tea's ready.
All right, Mike and Brodes on the Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Time for Inside the Sixers. Paul Hudrick is our Monday guest for Inside the Sixers. Hey, I want to tell you, about my friends at Trifecta Therapeutics. You know, they are the premier sports rehab and performance center located right in Glassboro. You guys are rowing guys. You guys know Trifecta. The team there has the only sports manual therapy fellowship trained doctor on staff in all of New Jersey, and their team always takes a unique approach to physical therapy and rehab, with each of their clients using treatment plans to get you feeling better, playing better, and of course, staying better. Trifecta Therapeutics has a range of services for you guys out there. Check them out online at trifectatherapeutics.com. All right, Sports Bash is live. It was an interesting weekend for the Sixers. Friday night, you saw MVP Joel Embiid. On Sunday night, you saw Nick Nurse say, we're not going to let you be the MVP. And Paul Hudrick's here to kind of explain what we saw on Sunday that was different, because a lot of people are saying, hey, no Joel Embiid, he got doubled. They didn't really figure it out. So I saw a lot of – it felt like Brett Brown was coaching the game last night on my timeline. You know, oh, they can't figure out what to do. Oh, they got open looks. They just weren't making them. So were you frustrated with what you saw, Paul, last night from the Sixers and the way they handled Toronto's defense?
I think Doc Rivers kind of hit it on the head. He did say the idea, and there's some truth to it, that there were looks and they didn't hit them. You know, every shot Tobias Harris took in that first quarter was wide open. They were all good shots. He just missed them. And then I thought what Doc said, and I think he nailed it when he said, was once they started missing shots, it got them in a funk, and then they kind of got out of the flow of the offense. Because you looked, some of the shot, there was, and I tweeted about it, there was one play specifically where Joel Embiid gets the ball on the block, he gets double teamed. As soon as it happens, Ben Simmons flies to the rim and cuts, which is what 100% what he's supposed to do. It leaves Seth Curry wide open, and he misses a three. So, I mean, there were a lot of little plays like that where I thought the ball movement was good. I thought Joel Embiid read the play well. I thought Ben Simmons was on the right spot of the floor. And guys just didn't make shots. And the way Ben Simmons played, that's what you want to see when they're going to double Joel Embiid. And like you said, when Nick Nurse says, I'm not going to let Joel Embiid beat me, I'm going to double him everywhere on the floor. I'm just not going to let him beat me. It was really encouraging to see Ben Simmons then score 28 points and kind of take that mantle. But the problem is when both of those guys are playing well and the paint is clogged, guys got to hit shots. You know, Seth Curry needs to hit shots. And I thought, again, in the second half, when the shots weren't falling early in the second half, they started to get a little hesitant. They were passing up looks that seemed pretty good. And I thought Toronto just beat them. It was a weird game. It was a funky game. If the results are the same Tuesday night, then I would be a little worried.
Yeah, I guess, you know, is that the kind of game that you watch and that your assertion at the end is they don't have enough, not deep enough, not good enough. If Toronto is going to figure out what to do with you there, other teams are going to follow suit, and that showed that you don't have enough. Is that what you maybe take from that, or just a bad shooting night?
Yeah, I mean, to an extent. I mean, I think we can all agree that they look like they needed more after that West Coast trip. It was pretty clear that the bench needed to be upgraded. It's pretty clear they needed a little bit more firepower, and I think if anything, just that game just exasperated that point. You know, Shake Milton was coming back. You know, he was really cold to start. He did hit 3 threes in the second half and kind of helped them get, you know, help add to that run in the third quarter they had when they went up by, you know, double digits. And they just couldn't sustain it because they just didn't have they don't have enough. They don't have enough, to me, enough. You know, Daryl Morey did a good job improving this team to get more shooting, to get more spacing. But yes, I think that game, the Toronto game, exasperated the point that they need even more. To me at this point. And I think Daryl Morey was also watching that game and he saw it, and he's not going to sit on his hands.
How do you view that 7+ minute span without a field goal in the fourth quarter? I think it was 2 field goals in 8:48, so not good. But if you look at their fourth quarter efficiency to this point, you know that there is something there to look at in a positive way. So is this just one of those nights, like Gill was saying?
Yeah, and then also to an extent, Brodes, I mean, Embiid and Simmons lived at the line too. I mean, that's another factor. And I think that's something that's a really good recipe for them going forward. If both of those guys are getting to the line and hitting them at high rates, that just guys around them just need to hit shots. Guys around them need to just supplement what they're doing because they're doing all their damage inside and you can't stop them because they're so good. The only way you can stop them is by literally all 5 guys packing the paint. So when that happens, there needs to be a threat on the outside that makes teams not do that. And Nick Nurse, to his credit, you know, saw that and said, okay, well, these are the 2 guys that I know can beat me. So I'm just going to pack the paint and take it away from them. And I think, again, in the fourth quarter, I think it was a manifestation of what you saw throughout the game. And it was guys just missing shots. And then I think that bled into them not running their offense, getting kind of out of a rhythm. And it kind of allowed it was a good strategy by the Raptors. I don't want to take any credit away from them. And Nick Nurse, I think, is a hell of a coach. But I do think it was them maybe, getting inside their own minds once they started missing shots. And it just manifested the way it did, where they didn't score for 8 minutes. So, yeah, I'm not overly concerned about it. But if that's something that continues, if that's a trend that, again, happens again Tuesday night, then I'm worried.
So I know, and we will get your opinion on the report today that they're looking to make major moves. I mean, with an S on the end, could there be multiple moves here? But what are some of the reasons, kind of like a why not, you think that a major move is needed or not needed? I mean, the name that's been thrown out there today was Kyle Lowry, but I'm sure there's others.
Yeah, it's tough because you look at their starting lineup, and their starting lineup's been really good. They've routinely beaten the other team's starting lineups. Even last night they did. It's something they did throughout the West Coast trip. Their starting lineup is very good, and it's beating other teams. I think they had the third among, I can't remember the minutes, but among most 5-man lineups, they're like third in net rating. So it's a very good starting unit. And we've seen what happens when the bench comes in and they just tank leads. You saw what happened last night with Chris Boucher getting hot, and Dwight Howard, really ill-fitting in that situation to play. I mean, that situation you'd like to maybe bring in another guard you can trust, maybe put Ben Simmons at the 5 and have him kind of be that mobile guy that, so Chris Boucher doesn't hit 5 straight threes or whatever he hit. He was absolutely on fire. So I think, so you kind of have to weigh it. I think there's an argument to be made for that big move because Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, all three of those guys are playing the best basketball of their careers. They're, maybe they don't all make the all-star team, but they are all-star level players right now. So do you maybe want to capitalize on that, strike while the iron's hot, go after a Kyle Lowry to kind of just really solidify that thing and just have a really dominant starting 5? Or do you say, okay, well, we have these guys who are playing really well. Our starting 5 is doing really well. Do we just add a guy or two to come off the bench, and not when I say that, just because they are bench players doesn't mean they are bad players. It just means they come off the bench. It doesn't mean they can't be good, impactful players. So do I instead of maybe look for a starting caliber player, do I look for a couple of, pretty big upgrades over what I already have on the bench? So when that, when the bench comes in, the starters can keep that lead and they're still playing with, upper echelon players. So I think there's an argument to be made either way. I guess it's going to depend on, one, who's available, and then 2, what you have to give up. Like, do you want to mortgage everything to be all in on the season? And I think you can make an argument that maybe they should.
I'm sure we'll get more into Kyle Lowry and some of the other moves, but I want to get your opinion on Isaiah Joe. Is that someone that you think can step in and be one of those pieces to help this team? I know he's raw. Defensively, though, there are some positive moments considering the alternative is Furkan Korkmaz. So do you think that he can be a good piece for this team moving forward to make a push?
I think in the regular season, yes. I do worry about him in the playoffs. And it's not his fault. He's 21 years old. He's a rookie. He's a second-round pick. I would say that they never imagined he was going to have this. Like, this situation wasn't going to occur, and in the back of their minds, and they didn't even think of a situation where they were going to turn to Isaiah Joe off their bench. But the reality is, Furkan Korkmaz has really struggled, and when he is not hitting shots, he's a liability on defense. To what you already said, Brodes. I mean, Isaiah Joe has been, to me, that's been the most pleasant surprise about him. He has played very good defense. Especially, again, when you consider the context of a 21-year-old rookie second-round pick being thrown into this spot. There was a possession in the fourth quarter where Van Vliet tried to drive on him. He shoved Van Vliet down. It was a weird possession where for some reason the Raptors kept the ball, but it looked like a travel that was initially called on the floor, and Isaiah Joe forced it. It was good defense. And I think that's the reason why Doc Rivers is kind of – because if I'm kind of simplifying it, I'm looking at it like this. If Furkan Korkmaz isn't going to hit shots and Isaiah Joe maybe is up and down because he's not maybe consistent enough, at least I know I'm going to get good defensive effort from Isaiah Joe. So I'm going to go to him because he's going to play decent defense, and maybe he hits a shot or two and opens up the floor. So right now, I think he is the better option over Furkan Korkmaz. With that said, I still think an upgrade is necessary.
Adam is watching on Facebook, has an interesting point. Want to get your take, Paul. if you were to get a big name player, do you have to give up too much to get that player, stripping this team of an already thin bench? I mean, if you get Lowry, I guess you have to include Danny Green in that deal to make the money work. And I would assume, just me, if I'm Toronto, I don't want Danny Green, Mike Scott, Furkan Korkmaz, and Ferguson. I want you to give me a younger player. Otherwise, I'll just take Lowry and let his contract expire. So to me, I guess the question is, if you get a player like Lowry or somebody bigger, do you have to give too much to get them, and then you are turned into almost like a Nets situation?
Well, I think it's just using Lowry as an example.
By the way, a Nets situation with less firepower.
Sure, right. So let's just take Lowry as an example. You would have to move for the money to work, because I'm on the NBA trade machine more than any human alive. I promise you. I just don't tweet out the pictures, the screenshots of the trades I make, but I do them a lot. It would take Danny Green's salary, Mike Scott, Terrence Ferguson, and Tony Bradley. That's the package financially you would have to send to Toronto to make it work. There's maybe some developmental interest in maybe a Tony Bradley or Ferguson, but not much. So it's going to be, if your Sixers are going to get Lowry, it's going to be because they're giving them draft picks. Now, to that question, would they give up too much? Now, it depends on what Toronto wants. Does Toronto want 2 firsts? Yes, that might be too much. If Toronto wants maybe a first and a second, I think you can do that, because listen, you still have the trade exception from the Al Horford deal. So then you're maybe, let's just say, again, for instance, a PJ Tucker, you could fit him under the trade exception. Maybe you're giving up a couple second rounders for him. Then you also still have that taxpayer mid-level exception to get a buyout guy or two. So I don't think, again, just using Lowry as an example, if you don't completely gut your entire future draft arsenal, yes, you still do have pieces that you can still improve the bench, where you could still use that trade exception. You can still use that taxpayer mid-level exception and still improve that bench. So, and then also, Lowry being a better basketball player, going to play more minutes, that helps your depth as well. You can use Kyle Lowry kind of lead your second unit when Joel Embiid or Ben Simmons are off the floor. So it just helps your depth in general. But, and then the other factor is, it's nice to have draft picks, because listen, it doesn't look like the Wizards are going to trade Bradley Beal at the deadline, but that doesn't mean he's not going to be available this offseason. And maybe it would be nice to have those draft picks in case you want to make a push for him this offseason. So it's all about balancing and where you see this team. And again, it's going to factor in who's available and what you have to give up.
All right. Busy weekend for the Sixers. Big night from Joel Friday night, had 50. What a fun game that was. So much fun to watch. Does it without Ben Simmons in the lineup. And then, of course, Simmons and him reunite yesterday. Simmons has another big game. I mean, it was nice to see Simmons get aggressive. Are we starting to feel that something has changed, something has clicked, something has morphed for Ben Simmons?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a cliche, but I do think the game has slowed down for him. I think he's just seeing things differently and seeing the game differently and seeing where he can attack. The biggest thing I've noticed is at the rim, where I think he's just getting in times past, he plays 100 miles an hour. So I think when he got to the rim, he would even, he's trying to finish at 100 miles an hour. Now I think he's realizing, okay, I am bigger and more athletic than most of the guys that are going to challenge me at the rim. So I'm going to take my time and kind of make a good decision. And I think that's what's allowing him to finish with a little bit more touch around the rim, maybe get to, a certain move or a certain finish that he feels more comfortable with. And of course, I think him hitting free throws at the rate he's been hitting them, that's only going to help his confidence. So now he knows when he gets to the rim, he's either going to finish or he's going to get fouled. And at the rate he's hitting them, he's going to make them. So I think it's all a factor. And I think it's like I've said a million times, he is 24 years old. So it's not crazy to think that he is still growing. He's still ascending. He's getting better. And he's realizing how good he can be. And I think that is the thing I tried to preach throughout like the early going in the season when he was struggling, is that give this guy a little time, because I think he's only scratching the surface offensively. I think he's only going to get better.
Paul Hudrick at Paul Hudrick on Twitter, 97.3ESPN.com. Read all his Sixers coverage and check out the Coming In for a Landing podcast. Now, I want to get your opinion on this, all right? CBS Sports asked a question on Twitter. Name an athlete you watched play before they became famous. I'll let you answer here in a second. My answer was Mike Trout, but I watched him play basketball, not baseball. Does that count?
I guess, sure. I mean, you knew who he was, right?
No. See, his reaction of, I guess, tells me everything I need to know. He's on my page of, that's kind of a loophole. He just doesn't care as much as I care.
I think I watched him play football, too. He played football for like a year or so before he gave that up. I think he was like a safety or something, but
he's built like a football player, that's for sure.
I watched him play basketball. I definitely seen him play basketball multiple times, but I never saw him play baseball. The baseball games are always at 4:00 when we're on the air here. But do you have an athlete that you watched play before they became famous?
It's probably, I mean, I don't know if I would call him. I mean, listen, he made it to the NBA, so I would consider that pretty famous. But I watched from the bench as Dewan Wagner tore apart my high school team.
There you go.
He was unbelievable. He was so fun to watch. I was so disappointed. Obviously health kind of cost him his NBA career, but he was. I've never seen anything like it.
I just called the game Saturday for his son. How old do I feel?
I know, right?
His son is now playing. He's a sophomore. Crazy. His son is.
And actually, another guy too, a former Philly. I played with Andrew Bailey in high school too.
There you go.
How about that?
Man.
Now, these make sense. Yours.
Well, I said I called a game for Karl Anthony Towns when he was in high school, but he was so famous in high school, I don't know that I could say that I saw him play before he was famous. He had already committed to Kentucky by that point. Right?
Yeah, it's a good point. I mean, at that time, these basketball players, they're famous when they're 5 because of TikTok.
Right, exactly.
That's what Wagner was already. He was the it guy at that point, even when I was going up against him when he was a junior in high school. So.
He's Paul Hudrick. Sixers back in action tomorrow night. They'll play the Raptors again in Tampa. Jason Blevins is actually down there, so more coverage from him on our website, 973ESPN.com. And, of course, Sixers have Tuesday Raptors, Thursday Mavericks, Saturday Cavs, and then we're into the month of March. Can you believe that? They'll play the Pacers. And then I think the schedule has one more game against the Jazz, and they got to put a new schedule out because they don't have a second half of the schedule yet. So we'll have the first half winding down in 2 weeks. Paul Hudrick, you're the man.
I'm doing my best, Mike. Thanks.
And he's doing a great job of doing his best. He is Paul Hudrick. The podcast is coming in for a landing, and he, like all guests appeared, via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. All right. So we want you guys to play along. Name an athlete you watched play before they became famous. So you're telling me that Mike Trout doesn't count for me.
Mike Trout does not count, but Karl Anthony Towns would be your answer. That I can
think the people out there, we might have to put up a poll question.
We might have to.
By the way, I put a poll question up over the weekend.
Yes, you did.
It has gotten a huge amount of traction, and I want to bring that poll question up on the other side. We'll answer some of these on the other side. Plus, we have headlines on the other side because something crazy happened this weekend that has been all over the place that we haven't got a chance to talk about yet. I want to get your opinion on that. And the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. You can watch the show live right here on our website, 973ESPN.com. This is the Sports Bash on 97.3. This hour of the show, it's brought to you by Cross County Connect. Call them at 856-596-8228.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Simmons, he's going to lay it up and in. Embiid with a block at one end, and Simmons like a freight train getting the layup.
The Sixers are in Tampa to face the Raptors tomorrow. Coverage begins at 7:30. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey, 97.3 ESPN.
Bigger, better Boardwalk, Boardwalk Honda. Bigger, better Boardwalk, Boardwalk Honda.
Your brand new Honda is waiting for you at Boardwalk Honda. Stop in and shop our complete new inventory. Accords, Civics, CRVs, you name it. And we have a great selection of SUVs with all-wheel drive capabilities, perfect for snowy conditions. Right now, lease a new 2021 HRV LX all-wheel drive for just $99 a month. Or lease a new 2021 CRV EX all-wheel drive for $189 a month. Plus, browse our entire selection of pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas. We have it all from store to shore. We're sure to have the vehicle you want at the price you want. Plus, we work with all credit situations. Boardwalk Honda partners with over 25 top financial lenders, so we'll help you get approved and on the road in your new Honda in no time. Visit Boardwalk Honda today, located in Egg Harbor Township, or shop online at boardwalkhonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal.
Bigger, better Boardwalk, Boardwalk
Boardwalk Honda.
Call us toll free at 844-890-3390 for more details.
Buongiorno.
Buongiorno.
Buonasera.
Buonasera. How can I make the most of waiting for my next big vacation?
Translate your questions into goals by investing with Merrill Edge Self-Directed. It's more accessible than you think, with helpful planning tools plus free online stock and ETF trades, so you can keep practicing your pronunciation. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/withinreach to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated. Registered broker-dealer, member SIPC. Other fees may apply. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
And now more straight talk from Straight Talk. The big wireless companies say they're the only way to get the best coverage.
Because they've got like a gajillion cell towers?
Something like that. But Straight Talk Wireless runs on those same towers, so you get the same great networks for up to 50% less.
I wonder if they're counting that one in Kickapoo, Kansas.
Oh boy. Switch today and get our unlimited plan for just $45 a month with 25 gigs at high speeds and no contract. Straight Talk Wireless, no contract, no compromise.
Savings may vary. See straighttalk.com.
Panera's new flatbread pizzas are here. But to our new chef, Klaus, they're not just pizzas, they're masterpieces. Because it's not just cheese, it's hot and melty mozzarella and fontina cheese. It's not just sauce, it's market tomato red bell pepper sauce. And it's not just toppings, it's fresh mozzarella, basil, and grape tomatoes. Taste our delicious new flatbread pizzas today. Order online for pickup or delivery. Panera. Restrictions apply.
Hey y'all, this is your girl Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge? For a coupon and daily support, sign up at Metamucil.com today.
According to the National Institutes of Health, 30% of hospital admissions in older adults are drug-related, like taking meds at the wrong time. Hero Health simplifies medication management. The smart device stores up to 90 days worth of up to 10 different pills. It dispenses them at the push of a button. Try Hero risk-free for 30 days and get free contactless delivery. Just call 800-420-7550. That's 800-420-7550. 800-420-7550. Hero, medication managed.
What's it doing? Designing my new 2021 Nissan Kicks online in the Kicks Color Studio. I give each a special name. This one's electric blue, orange, red, white. I call it the gumball machine. You think it's me? I feel like you're more of a red velvet guy.
Limitless possibilities. With over 100 million available color combinations and Bose Personal Plus system in the boldly new 2021 Nissan Kicks. Bose is the registered trademark of the Bose Corporation. Color combinations include interior and exterior colors. Customization is an available feature subject to availability at participating Nissan dealers. See dealer for details.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
All right, 3:45 here on the Sports Bash. This hour is brought to you by Cross County Connection. Let's get to work, South Jersey. Check them out online at driveless.com. Call 856-596-8228. Cross County Connections can help get you there. Mike and Brodes, what's up, everybody? So we've been asking this hour. It's been kind of fun because this came up on Twitter yesterday, and my answer was kind of wonky. No, nobody blasted me on Twitter, by the way. No one seemed to have a problem with my answer.
Yeah, but did you see Paul's reaction? That was like he didn't want to piss off the boss, and he played it safe. No.
Name an athlete you watched play before they became famous, thanks to CBS Sports, who tweeted this out. I said Mike Trout, but I watched him play basketball, not baseball. I mean, I watched him play. He wasn't famous at that point.
Yeah, but that's not the same.
Maybe he had basketball aspirations.
He did. Carl Anthony Towns is a better one. You caught him before he went to college. I mean, that's a big deal. And speaking of college, by the way, it's not quite March. That doesn't mean the college basketball fun has to wait. DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, is giving all new players the chance to bet $1 on any team to hit a three-pointer in any basketball game this weekend. And if your team does, you cash $100. That's code 973 for new customers only at DraftKings. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey only. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
By the way, our own Sixers contributor, Kevin McCormick, is listening in. He texted me. He said, on the whole, watching pro athletes before the fame, Will Fuller was 2 grades under me at Roman, and I saw him play. I got to see a limo pull into our parking lot, and it was Notre Dame's coaching staff coming to meet him.
Wow.
Will Fuller, the wideout from the Texans.
Wow. I can only imagine what he looked like out there on a high school football field.
Yeah, I remember I was in high school. There was a guy who was older than me, and I forget which coach it was that I saw in the hallway, like coming to recruit. Man, this was probably 25 years ago.
Yeah. Tough day for the brain.
Yeah. This guy says, I saw Buster Douglas fight a couple of times in AC way before he fought Mike Tyson.
Underground? Like one of those, like in the backyard and like...
Yeah, it's probably like in the
13th
ballroom
and Johnson?
somewhere.
Oh, okay.
13th and Johnson.
I don't even know if that's a street.
I met Tim Duncan at a movie theater outside of Wake Forest. It was 10:30 showing of Jackie Chan movie.
No, see.
I can't remember the name of. We mimicked karate moves in the parking lot afterwards. Way cooler than seeing him take a dump on someone at the local Y. A week later, he was the #1 draft pick.
Now, see, that falls in the same category of that's irrelevant to watching them play when they were younger. See, that nonsense that was just texted in about a Jackie Chan movie is how I feel about you watching Mike Trout play basketball. It has nothing to do with watching them play the sport that they became fantastic at.
I don't know that that's the way it was worded. Name an athlete you watched play before they became famous.
But the way that's worded to me is in that sport. We should tweet back at CBS Sports and see if they get, the
I
Twitter
should ask
account.
him, does Mike Trout playing basketball count?
Are their DMs open?
I don't know.
I'm going to check.
By the way, got this on there's so many different ways to connect with us. This one is, if you have the app, you can message us through the app, and a lot of people do that, by the way. And this one's from Mike in Runnymede. You're going to want to listen to this.
I'm listening.
He says, I watched Ivan Provorov play multiple times when he played for the Wilkes-Barre Scranton Knights.
Yes, he did.
When he was 16 or 17. Him and another Russian player were unbelievable back then, but he played forward and scored like crazy. My younger brother played goalie for Team Comcast, and they only beat them 1 out of like 4 games, and they went on to win a championship. Now, that's the second time that Team Comcast has come up today.
That's right. I wear my Team Comcast jacket.
Is this guy on your team?
I don't know. I don't know who that would be. But
Mike in Runnymede.
Yeah, I need a little bit more information than
that. Is it his brother?
Dennis Smirnov is the other Russian that ended up playing with him. I remember that Wilkes-Barre Scranton team. Yeah, they were something else. But yeah, Team Comcast, that's the hottest team in the market around here, man. I played for Team Comcast.
Brodes walks in today with this jacket, which rarely does he wear a jacket.
Well, it's pouring, so I am anti-jacket. I really am.
Yeah, I don't wear a jacket either.
Yeah, but it was downpouring by me. It's like, I got to put on a jacket, so I went Team Comcast jacket today.
Right, and I'm like, what are you on, Team Comcast? He's like, yeah, that's the name of the team. I'm like,
and it didn't even register to me that you would have no idea what that is. Because
yeah, I mean, you look like a Comcast technician.
I'm coming in here to fix the issues?
Right.
That's funny. See,
in a 4-hour window.
Yeah, but once you see that's the worst. They say 12 to 4. They come at 6. You see the Bauer logo. That screams hockey. You see the Bauer logo.
I didn't see a Bauer logo. I saw a Comcast logo.
Well, on the other side, it said number, name, Bauer. That's how you know it's a hockey.
The only thing I know hockey is when I see the CCM.
CCM's another one.
That's the number one.
I was always a Bauer guy.
It's not another one. No, it's the only one.
No, it's not. Bauer's well, now CCM's a little different. I was a Bauer guy my whole life. I got free
when
CCM.
When did CCM go away?
No, they're still a thing.
Okay, well, they're the only thing.
No, they're not the only thing. Oh, man.
It's
classic.
like CCM would be the equivalent of the tree car deodorizer.
No, it's not. By the way, did I send you the picture? I don't know if it went through. I sent you a picture. I got 2 hanging on my, they both have no smell left.
No. Yeah, I have one up there, but it's not a tree. It's just a square.
Now, what is the length of time? Because that's
2 days.
Well, I was no, not how long it smells good for, but after it's done, I wonder the average length of time it stays
Months.
there. Yeah, like I feel like it's been in there for 3 years.
Oh, I've had this non-smelling smell thing on my rear view mirror. I mean, it's got to be a year and it hasn't smelled. Why don't we take them off?
I don't know. And then we'll get a new one and we'll still keep the other 2
I don't go
there.
double.
Oh, you won't double? No,
I'll take the other one off. It's just I'm so disenchanted by the tree. I don't want to get another one. And then one random day I'll be like, I guess I'll try this thing again and get scammed for $1.79.
What ends up happening is it's in front of the cashier when you're cashing out somewhere for 99 cents or whatever. It's like, we'll try this one. We'll give it
What's
a
your
shot.
go-to tree?
I don't know. The yellow one. I don't know what that means.
Black ice.
Black ice. Black ice is a good one.
You go to the I used to have
I don't even know the flavors.
You ever have the tree in a can?
No.
Yeah, they have it canned. the smell of the actual tree, they canned it and it gets sprayed in your car.
No. Is that better? Would you prefer that?
Like Febreze. It smells, it permeates all over for 5 minutes and then it goes away. Man. I mean, it's another scam. Anything that's like, hey, air freshener, make your room smell better. It lasts. Nothing withstands the test of time. It all goes away. The odor always wins.
So the scented sock should come back into play.
That guy said the scented shoe.
The scented shoe is a little ridiculous. Who's going to?
Well, no, because you were concerned about cleaning the sock.
Well, what I liked about it is everyone needs them, and you need to keep buying socks. So no one's ever going to be like, you know what, we're going to stop using in this world?
Well, everybody
socks.
needs to keep buying shoes.
Yeah, but the problem
they
is
go bad too.
When your
you know?
feet smell, the odor is what this like your shoe. You don't need the outside of the shoe to smell good, but you need the sock to smell good. No one cares if you're, hey, Gil, come smell my shoe today.
No, because when you take your shoe off, that's where the problem sometimes comes into play. So if you had a odor,
well, maybe we buy
a mango smelling shoe.
But what about the thing I'm drawing a blank here, but the thing you put in the shoe. You know what I'm talking about? We need that to smell. That's what needs to be scented. The inserts, that's it. The shoe inserts. That's what you need to smell good. What? What are you laughing at?
Just this conversation.
Oh, scented socks has been on my mind for 3 years when I watch Shark Tank.
Yeah, but your whole point
notebook.
was
I want people to have to keep buying them. It's the flawed concept of us keep buying these trees
you
that
want
don't
it
work.
to be the tree.
Yeah, I want to come up with the scam because it works.
Right, you want the tree. You want the smell to only last.
Yeah, I don't want you to buy my product and then you're good to go.
Here's the flaw in that.
Why? What?
How long do you keep a pair of socks for?
Way too long.
Right. So just because the smell that you bought them with is gone, you're not going to be like, you know what I want to do? I want to go buy another one of those socks that I got scammed on.
Oh, yeah? Well, in theory, you're right. But we keep doing that with this tree. So we would think with this tree we would stop, but we're idiots. So I'm banking on us to continue to be idiots.
Yeah, but I don't buy socks enough.
Yeah, but
you wear socks until literally they have a blowout.
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, my socks, some of them are greasy. Like, hey, Brodes, come on, dude. Come on, these got to go in the trash. So, yeah, I'm with you. But everyone needs socks is my point. There's no one who doesn't
And they don't
need
even
socks.
have any scented smell.
I know. That's why my plan is genius.
No, but I'm saying I don't think the regularity that you would buy a sock would change.
No, it wouldn't. But I think I'm onto something. Stop. Who are you to come at me and tell me that my idea stinks?
Precisely. This gentleman says, no scented shoes. Other than for work, flip-flops all the time. No way I want them scented. Well, a flip-flop's different.
Yeah, flip-flop's different.
You got to understand, you're in the minority of wearing flip-flops all day, every day.
Well, maybe not in this environment down here. Maybe.
Well, 8 months out of the year, it's cold here.
Yeah, but people are still freaks. The shoebies compared to the non-shoebies, they still rock. There's people who go to the beach every day.
Yeah, they wear socks with their sandals.
Scented ones, should be.
That's where the scented sock would come in when I'm on the beach. My foot.
The seagulls come in and attack your socks. It all goes crazy.
My foot smells when I'm on the beach, so I need to wear a sock. Why are you wearing socks with sandals? They're scented.
Damn right.
It's already 4 o'clock. Can you believe that? Somebody said Joe Flacco they saw play high school football. That would be a famous person before they became famous.
What if you watched him play at Delaware? Does that count?
Yeah. No, we played at Pitt, too. That doesn't.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin on 97.3 ESPN.
He's the Super Bowl champion. Will he be remembered as a closer? No, that's Nick Foles. But he was the reason why they got the number 1 seed. More importantly, he will be a bystander of an organizational failure of monumental proportions.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Weekday mornings at 6 on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Health update with Robin Stolloff. Learn more, live better.
Do you dread Mondays? Do you spend your Sunday nights worrying about Monday morning? Well, you're not alone. Mondays are often associated with anxiety, apprehension, and gloom. A recent survey of 11,000 workers revealed we're more likely to be ill or take time off at the start of the week, with 35% of all sick days falling on a Monday. And more people are even more likely to have heart attacks on a Monday. Let's face it, Monday does mark the end of freedom. Gone are those relaxed, free hours and days shared with family and friends. Monday morning blues are a real thing, but life is too short to feel that way. So how can we stop our mood from sinking when Sunday draws to a close? We have 5 ways to hate Mondays less and embrace them more on our website right now. I'm Robin Stolloff for Health Update.
Health Update with Robin Stolloff, empowering you to live a healthier life.
It's crunchy!
Creamy!
Sweet.
Salty.
Nature Valley sweet and salty peanut bars, bursting with crunchy peanuts, dipped in creamy nut butter coating.
Delicious.
Nature Valley.
Let's get to work, South Jersey. Today, commuting challenges aren't just an inconvenience. They affect quality of life, independence, and mobility. Cross County Connection, the region's Transportation Management Association, is dedicated to improving the quality of life in South Jersey through transportation solutions. www.driveless.com is your key to mobility, providing public transportation resources, commute planning, and employer programs. Let Cross County Connection help you get there. 856-596-8228. Funded by the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority and the Federal Highway Administration, which assume no liability for its contents.
If you're a first-time buyer, finding your first real home can feel like this.
Hot property. Not going to last long. Multiple offers. 30 or fixed. We need earnest money.
But a realtor has the expertise to strip away all the noise and focus on what really matters to you.
You're going to love this place. Great neighborhood. School is walkable. It even has a huge yard so Henry can practice his penalty kicks.
Finding the right place starts with you and a realtor with the expertise to make sure your voice is the only voice that matters. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
This is Renee.
Happy to be here.
She's not some influencer. She's more of a groundbreaker, turning her 4-acre lot into a little slice of heaven behind the wheel of a John Deere 1 Series tractor. Renee runs with us because the most important job is the next one.
That's all I got.
Nothing runs like a Deere. Get a 1 Series tractor for just $99 per month at your John Deere dealer today. For additional cost information, please call toll-free 855-633-2315.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
As a minimalist, paying less for insurance is more.
Nice place. Is your house a bubble?
It's a dome. I find corners unnecessary.
At Liberty Mutual, that's how we feel about overpaying for insurance.
But I do miss having shelves.
What would you put on them?
Nothing, obviously.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The following is a paid announcement. The advertiser was paid a marketing fee for a digital campaign. Please make sure to review our disclaimer on our report page.
The new year is here, and the time is now to capitalize on the EV stocks boom in the U.S. markets. Text the word trade to 48542. Here's a great opportunity that we've uncovered in the electronic vehicle space, and it's a great time to explore the massive profit potential of the EV sector with your free subscription to Energy Market Today. When you text the word trade to 48542. The world is scrambling for sufficient nickel and lithium supply for the EV industry. We've identified a company that could be well positioned as the EV market drives demand for these materials. According to analysts, total EV sales are expected to grow from approximately 2.5 million units in 2020 to around 11.2 million units in 2025, then reach about 31.1 million vehicles sold worldwide by 2030. Get your free subscription to Energy Market today when you text the word trade to 48542. Text the word trade to 48542.
Tax refunds are great for fresh starts, especially in 2021. Refresh your ride with your refund at Mako and make the year one you'll never forget. Head to Mako.com to get a free estimate today. Better get Mako.
A town square media station serving all of South Jersey. This is 97.3 ESPN, home of the Philadelphia Eagles.
He is hit. He stumbles. He's down.
WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN presents the Sports Bash with Mike Gill. It's time for Football at 4 with Jeff Mosier.
I think our track record in the last 20 years, how many NFC East titles, playoff appearances, and appearances in the NFC Championship game, those are some of the metrics I look at, and I'll compare our record with almost anybody.
Powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Now, live from inside the Matt Black Kia Studios. This is Football at 4.
Yes, it is. Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. It drops this morning at 6 a.m., Thursday at 6 a.m., And it's brought to you by Dr. Lyle M. Back. For everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery, go to ilovelyle.back.com or call 856-MAKEOVER for Dr. Lyle M. Back, proud sponsor of Football at 4. Jeff Mosher is in the house from the Inside the Birds podcast. And if you're watching the show live on our video stream at 973ESPN.com, you can see him right there along with us. Jeff, welcome back to the program. How are you?
A, I'm great. I hope you guys had a good weekend. B, I'm really excited for this Football at 4 because I absolutely know neither of you have to ask me where Carson Wentz is going to be traded to and when it's going to happen. And C, if I can just kind of go back to a conversation you guys were having a few minutes ago. Hunter, when people think CCM, the first thing that comes to their mind is hockey, right? When you ask me what's the first thing that comes to my mind, if you say Bauer, I say Trevor. I'm sorry, but Mike is right on this. CCM is hockey, and hockey is CCM. All right? It's just like Jordan and Jumpman.
I think I even think of Reebok in hockey ahead of Bauer.
Well, that's flawed. How about this? Did you hear my scented socks idea?
Yeah, that was a weird one.
This is unbelievable.
I'm not sure I'm with you on that.
Do you think Carson Wentz is going to get traded?
Do I think he wears scented socks?
See that?
Oh, man.
You might.
Do you think he was hard to coach?
I do. I do.
So that's
maybe it's because he wore scented socks. I don't know.
Right. That's a strong possibility, right?
Maybe.
Or maybe the coach didn't wear scented socks and he wanted nothing to do with that guy.
There you go.
That's one of the the aftermath of a guy getting traded and having an ugly divorce is that all this stuff starts to come out. One of them, which is, and we've kind of heard this before, Jeff, is that he was very, but a lot of teammates were also kind of suggesting, this is from an Albert Breer report, that he was hard to coach. It was a hard guy to kind of have in the building, but we had heard this stuff before.
Yeah, yes, I'm glad you brought that up because sometimes things
real fast.
No, that's my third line. That's my landline. I should probably try to figure out a way to quiet it. I know, right? It's like my non-business line. But I would say this. I'm glad you mentioned that we've heard it before because, and I give Adam Kaplan a lot of credit on this. When we first started doing Inside the Birds in August of 2018, going into the season, Adam said one of the storylines of the year that has to be taken into account, because back then it was more about Carson coming back from the ACL surgery. But one of the underlying themes that Adam talked about was, how is Carson going to come back to this team and adjust without John DeFilippo and Frank Reich there? And Adam brought to light that Carson was a very hard-headed guy coming out of North Dakota State. Doesn't make him a bad guy. A lot of quarterbacks are like this, but that he was very stubborn, likes what he likes, doesn't like what he doesn't like. And he and DeFilippo had to butt heads quite a bit before DeFilippo was able to rein him in. And then obviously Mike Groh became the offensive coordinator, and we saw the struggles there. And then, a guy like Press Taylor, who is opposite. He was more of a coddler of Carson Wentz, but still things around Carson were going south, whether it be injuries or the drafting of Jalen Hurts or Doug Peterson, his relationship there. And so, yeah, it all kind of created the perfect storm for this year where some of the things we talked about in the past really came into fruition. And I'll mention this real quick. When Joe Santoliquito wrote that story a couple of years ago, the Philly Voice story that got a lot of attention, Adam, when we did our podcast, we weren't like throwing Joe under the bus at all. We had actually said, a lot of the things that Joe is pointing out here are true about Carson Wentz and that we had heard about him. It doesn't make him a bad person. And I think people have also said this, like when you're winning, it doesn't look that bad because you're walking the walk. You may be, very demanding. You may have preferences, but when you're playing well, no one's going to stop you from having those demands and preferences. But when things change around you and you don't do as well and you're still that guy and you don't adapt to the surroundings, then it's going to come down on you, as it should.
Now, part of this report was that him and Groh had some problems, and here Groh is now the wide receivers coach. Not that they're going to have to work together all that much, but I found that interesting was that, hey, Groh is now a part of this staff. I guess, Taylor being there too kind of maybe, changes the dynamics there a little bit. But look, if all these guys, Groh included, is saying, yeah, this guy was difficult to deal with, I think this is going to be an interesting situation of him walking into a spot where he didn't get along with this guy.
Well, you noticed that the Colts lost a couple of coaches there, pass game coordinator, Did they lose their offensive coordinator? Oh, yes. His name is Nick Sirianni, right? And he's now the Eagles coach. But you'll notice that Mako was not promoted into any of those spots, I don't believe. I think he is still just the wide receivers coach there. I'll give a second check to that. But, yeah, I mean, I think that's because the Colts knew that there was a strong possibility that they were going to land Carson Wentz. And obviously you don't want to have, these things going on with you. Mike Groh, he may not be the wide receivers coach, but I don't think he wasn't like promoted to quarterbacks coach. If I'm not, I think he's still wide receivers coach there. So yeah, I don't see him, having to be in the same room all the time with Carson Wentz.
Right. Let's, now, obviously there's a lot with Wentz coming out after the fact here. Albert Breer in the MMQB talked about all this stuff soon after the season ended. But I guess the next question really kind of jumping forward for Philly is, what do they do at the quarterback position now that Wentz is out, now that we're kind of moving forward to free agency and the draft? Does number 6, do they try to trade up? Is a quarterback strongly in play for the Eagles?
That's a great question. And to me, a lot of it comes down to how does Nick Sirianni and his staff evaluate Jalen Hurts based on last year's performance, but also going back to college and their evaluations of him back then. I think it would be egregious to just look at the last 4 games of last year and make your evaluation there. And we'll have to see how he feels about it. I do think it's critical, and we mentioned this in the podcast this morning, to understand, and this is, without bias, this is just me objectively looking at it, that when you have a new coaching staff come in and do their own evaluations, you really have no idea what they're thinking of that guy, and they have no allegiances to that guy. So from that standpoint, they have to evaluate what they think of Jalen Hurts really is, and then they have to do their diligence because they're picking 6 overall on pretty much every quarterback who could go in the first round, including Trevor Lawrence, just in case. And what they have to, in my opinion, what they have to do is determine, do any of these guys project? And when I say these guys, I mean the whether it's Justin Fields or Zach Wilson or Trey Lance or whoever, do they project to be better than what they think of Jalen Hurts? And if they do, if they really fall in love with one of these guys and think this has got to be a guy that we have because we can get him because it's going to change our franchise around, then you have to do it. That's my opinion. I don't see why you wouldn't do that if you were a coach and felt that way. I mean, Jalen Hurts is still here as the backup, even if you do, unless they decide to trade him. I don't know. But I think that's how most coaches and front offices would deal with that situation. It's all based on their evaluation, and they're on both parties here, the incumbent and what's out there.
Yeah, last year, Jalen Hurts obviously didn't have the OTAs and the training camp and the preseason, and he was coming into a situation where Carson Wentz was here with the big money. So the mentality was, look, he probably knew what his role was, but now that he's entering the season with this whole new debacle, it's like, hey, I have an opportunity to win this job out and be the starter. How important do you think it is with this new mentality, with this new fresh, idea that, hey, I can be this guy, could play a big role in what he grows into for next season?
Yeah, you're talking about Jalen, right?
Yeah, Jalen Hurts.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, I think Jalen just needs to continue to be doing what he's doing. He's going to work out with some wide receivers soon. He's going to take command of this team as if he's the number 1 quarterback, which he very likely will be. I mean, even if the Eagles wanted to get a quarterback at 6, there's no guarantee that they're going to be there or be able to move up. So he should just continue to do everything he's done. He has endeared himself well to the fan base, to the organization, as far as character and leadership and things of that nature. I don't think he has to do anything differently. I don't think he has to act differently. We've already seen his workouts with Quincy Avery, right? As far as we know, he's putting the work in. So it's really not in his control anymore, other than just don't go out there and do something that could, make you lose favor with the organization. If he can just continue to do what he's doing, he'll be in a good spot, and he'll be given the opportunity to be the starter, or at least compete for the starter. And that's the mentality he should take.
Jeff Mosher, Football at 4, powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Over at InsideTheBirds.com, Jeff, you wrote something that's kind of interesting. You sound similar to what I've kind of been saying, is that predictions of doom and gloom, in your view, is an exaggeration. Now, that's not you saying they're going to be a playoff team or a Super Bowl contender, But what is your reason why you think maybe people think that a 4-12 or 5-11 type of season might be outlandish?
Yeah, so I know some people might say, aren't you the same guy that wrote last week that this team is, knee deep in turmoil and completely dysfunctional? And yes, as I wrote in that piece, there not much has changed from that standpoint. So they can certainly screw a lot of things up from up top. But if you just look at the 53-man right now, or projected, most teams, even if you have some question mark at quarterback, even if you're not great, in the secondary or linebacker, most teams are good if they are good in the trenches. So if you look at the Eagles' offensive line and you assume that Jason Kelce, Brandon Brooks, and Lane Johnson come back and they're healthy and they're, even close to what they normally are, that's pretty good. And then you've got Mailata and Seumalo, or I would say is Mailata at left tackle and Seumalo. We'll see. Maybe Dillard beats him out. But the bottom line is that right side there is pretty rock solid. And then on the other end, I'm pretty sure Brandon Graham's going to be back. I know they have to shave a lot of money off, but I don't see him being the first guy to go. So I'm assuming he'll be back. Javon Hargrave really came on at the end of last year. Fletcher Cox will be back. Josh Sweat, I imagine, will be back on an extension along with Barnett. So that's pretty good. So now that to me says they're strong enough to be a pretty competitive team, put some pressure on the quarterback, hold up the quarterback on their end, get a running game going. We'll see what Nick Sirianni likes to do. But to me, the worst teams are usually the ones that are just turmoil in the trenches. They don't have any pass rushers. They don't have anybody that can block for the quarterback and keep them upright. And if these guys are healthy and they come back and are a semblance of what they are, I think the Eagles can be more competitive than just another. I've heard a lot of people say they're just going to be another 3, 4, 5 win team next year. And I don't see it that way.
No, I agree with you with that. And when you were talking about the offensive line, the one name that sparked a little light bulb in my head was Jason Kelce. Do we have any information or know anything about the future of Jason Kelce?
Not yet. Adam Kaplan addressed it on the podcast this morning. It was his understanding that Jason does what he normally does in the offseason, take some time, decompress, try to figure things out, see what how his body is feeling, and then kind of it's almost like Groundhog Day, and you just wait for him to pop out and declare whether he's coming back or not. So we'll see. But I will say I think the Eagles are in a decent position to be able to replace him and still be fairly strong. And if he does not come back, or if they want to cut him for cap related issues, then Isaac Seumalo is a guy who's played well at left guard and projected to be a center in the league, and that would open up your left guard spot. Jack Driscoll, who we all remember started right tackle in the season opener last year as a rookie, is a guy that a lot of personnel people told me can move to guard, probably projected, if not right tackle, then at guard, as long as you put a little bit more weight on him. He's got good athleticism. He played at Auburn in that, that RPO-driven offense, so he's agile. He can move around. So I'm not saying he would definitely be the left guard, but he can at least compete with maybe a Nate Herbig. By the way, Nate Herbig could also be who started his Eagles career at a center and was a good run blocker last year and not an awful pass protector. He certainly needs to work on it, but sometimes things go haywire and you just blame the last guy on the or the worst perceived guy on the line. But Herbig wasn't as bad as maybe the press that he got. I thought he got better as the year went along. So he's another guy who could take over at center.
Jeff, we'll leave you with this as we have a lot of off-season questions. They got to get under this cap. How they're going to do it. There's some big names that make a lot of money. Do you see a big name getting released to help get under the cap? Or traded, I guess, would be another, way, like a Fletcher Cox, a Brandon Graham, Brandon Brooks we kind of hit on a couple of weeks ago. Who else would be in that magnitude? Darius
Zach Ertz. I mean, unless we're already moving past Zach Ertz, but that's definitely one guy that I'm almost positive will be gone.
Roddy McLeod.
Well, that's interesting because he's coming back from the ACL, and if he's not medically cleared and you try to cut him, then you have to reach an injury settlement. You probably have to pay what his contract is at that point. So it's almost not to their advantage to be able to do that, and it'll be hard to trade him. And plus, they're so young in the secondary, and Rodney actually played fairly well. So even if he comes back at a little bit, less than what he was because of the injury again, you can probably mix in that, get him out there in certain packages that cater to his strengths, maybe just becoming a rundown type of safety. We'll see. But I will say the Eagles always have a tendency to surprise us every offseason, right? So Zach Ertz is kind of a name. We can go through names. That's why I mentioned Brandon Brooks a while with you, as far as maybe trade bait, because that's kind of the outside the box move that nobody's really talking about, but that would save them a lot of money if they're able to trade him. Same thing with Lane Johnson. I mean, I can't see it happening, but he certainly has to get money off the books, and he has to do it not just to get money off the books, but also to reshape the roster and really build for tomorrow. So if you're a veteran and you're approaching 30 or over 30, you mentioned Darius Slay, Mike. I mean, he's a guy they just brought in because they were trying to still win a Super Bowl. But I mean, does it make sense to have that salary on the books this year if you're not expecting to be that good? At the same point, you don't want to be terrible either. So I don't know. It's probably a guy that they have to make a decision on internally.
Yeah, when we had Rob Motti on, he threw the name out of Hargrave, and it was similar to like what you said with Lane Johnson. We're like, I can't imagine it, but they threw the name out there. Could you see a situation where they let go of a guy who they just brought in here just recently?
Well, I haven't looked at his contract lately, but because they just signed him last year, I feel like that would be a massive cap hit. Although he only signed a 3-year deal, and I'm going to guess because of that most of his money did clear in year one. So yes, I guess there's a possibility, but I would ask, why would you, if you're trying to build this roster right around your young dynamic talent, why would you get rid of Hargrave and hold on to Fletcher Cox? I mean, I see no reason to have to get rid of both, or either, but I would think you'd want to go with your younger, generation here.
Well, they got a lot of tough decisions to make. And, you just mentioned something that kind of perked my interest is, what if you just say, look, we're not going to be good this year. Let's move on from Fletcher. Let's move on from Brandon Graham. And you kind of try to trade those guys and get those numbers off and just kind of get as much draft capital as you can. You almost go kind of like what the Browns did and just start collecting picks.
Well, you have to be careful, though, because, first of all, if they did that and then took the same approach with Brooks and Johnson, then there goes my theory about being strong in the trenches and competitive. I say you have to be careful because, look, you have the opportunity, if you determine Jalen Hurts is your guy, or if you pick number 6 overall, to be able to build yourself back in a manner that's not going to take 2, 3, or 4 years. I mean, next year is kind of a year, but if your quarterback's good and your lines are still good next year and you're able to win 6, 7, and 8 and then add on the following offseason, then by 2022, you might be thinking of your team the same way they thought of their team in 2017 when they won the Super Bowl. So, and I'm not saying that that's going to happen. I'd be careful about getting rid of guys who you think might still have a couple of good years left in you who have been building blocks for this franchise before. Yeah, of course, some of them are going to have to go. In other words, like Zach Ertz is going to go because they have Dallas Goedert, right? They're not just doing it because they're saving money. It's because they have a successor. So I would be careful about cutting guys where you don't have a successor. I mean, Brandon Graham gets cut. Who are you putting out there at defensive end? Because Sweat can only be a situational guy, and Barnett really hasn't showed that he's a reliable down guy.
You think it's a slam dunk that Barnett's back?
I would lean that way more than I don't think he's back at $10 million. I think that the either he accepts whatever team-friendly contract extension they'll give him that will lower that number, or he doesn't and then gets cut and goes into a very awkward free agency where A, he's not been that productive, and B, only a couple of teams have a lot of money to spend. So I don't know if I want to take my chances going into free agency and then not get the contract that the Eagles even offered me.
Jeff Mosher, Inside the Birds, the podcast is out today. It's the new one. The latest one is out. You can get it wherever you listen to podcasts. We'll have a new one on Thursday. And it looks like Inside the Birds has a new show.
Oh, yeah. I'm really excited about it. Thanks for bringing that up. We are bringing in former Eagles receiver Jason Avant and former Eagles safety Quentin Michael. They're going to tag team on a show. We're calling it Q&A. And it's going to be a lot like some of our other shows in the past, Tales from the Blind Side or Grill and the Birds. It's going to be 2 former Eagles doing a lot of analysis. The cool thing is Jason did that Bill Walsh scholarship coaching internship with the Eagles. So he was very close to the situation. Plus, we're going to be able now to really analyze the Eagles' defensive backs with Q and their wide receivers with Jason really well. We focused a lot on the offensive line this past year because we had guys like Jamal Jackson and Trey Thomas and Todd Hermans. And certainly receiver and corner have been and safety have been issues for this team. So I'm looking forward to their perspective. They're going to watch a lot of tape and even get into the draft. So I'm excited. It's going to be their first show will be next Wednesday. So I think it's March 3rd. it'll drop.
All right, very cool. We will keep people up to date on that and how you can consume it and get it all through the Inside the Birds podcast. And, of course, the latest one is out. The new one drops Thursday. And right here on Football at 4, we'll have plenty more on the Eagles offseason, free agency, some NFL, and more here on the Sports Bash. Jeff Mosher, everybody, at Jeff Mosher NFL. And it is Football at 4 powered by the Inside the Birds podcast. Thanks, man.
All right, fellas, on with your scented socks.
We will do our best with the scented socks to see how we can put those together. By the way, I got a text message from somebody that works pretty high up in a professional organization.
Yeah?
Yep.
And what did they say? About socks?
No.
Hanes?
No. All right. One of the world's best athletes playing another sport in high school, it's like finding a rare baseball card. Come on, Brodes.
No, I don't believe this is the truth.
Gives me credit for that.
No. I'm just going to have to disagree completely. So really, it's 2-2 right now. I guess Josh is on your side. It's me and Paul Hudrick. I took Paul's answers on my side. He didn't give you a firm one, so he kind of disagreed a bit. So it's 3-2 right now. We'll see what the other people have to say.
I think you're wrong. CCM, Reebok. What's another one?
Bauer.
Oh, Bauer.
Warrior. I think of lacrosse when I do, but Warrior sponsors a lot of hockey guys now. They're big in the hockey game.
Adidas?
No, there's no Adidas like that.
Did they used to do the jerseys?
They did used to, yeah. But in terms of like hockey equipment, it was just the jerseys that they branded.
Gotcha.
They didn't do like helmets, pants.
It's all CCM. The only one I've ever seen.
You're unbelievable.
You have CCM gloves?
Well, my team was sponsored by CCM when I played in college. But when I played junior, I was sponsored by Bauer. So I got all free Bauer stuff.
This hour of the show, it's brought to you by PropSwap, America's sports betting marketplace. Sell your sports bet and then take your profit. Find out how. It's PropSwap.com or download the PropSwap app today. Football at 4 brought to you by Dr. Lyle M. Back. For everything from skincare to cosmetic surgery, go to ilovelyle.com or call 856-MAKEOVER for Dr. Lyle M. Back, proud sponsor of Football at 4. We are very busy, and we got so much to do. We never really got into our headlines. There's so many interesting stories that happened this weekend that I'd like to touch on. There's also more conversation on the way about the Sixers stuff, the trade possibilities. We want to get you guys involved. Keep the text messages coming, 609-403-0973. This is the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app, and watch the show live on our website, 97.3ESPN.com.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin on 97.3 ESPN.
If I take a guy at 6, what am I going to do with that guy? What I'm getting ready to give him $35 million.
You got to treat him like rent. You got to give him the job.
Got to give him the damn job. Why in the hell would I do that? That's stupid.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Weekday mornings at 6 on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Let's get to work, South Jersey. Today, commuting challenges aren't just an inconvenience. They affect quality of life, independence, and mobility. Cross County Connection, the region's transportation management association, is dedicated to improving the quality of life in South Jersey through transportation solutions. www.driveless.com is your key to mobility, providing public transportation resources, commute planning, and employer programs. Let Cross County Connection help you get there. 856-596-8228. Funded by the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority and the Federal Highway Administration, which assume no liability for its contents.
Before you move in and start making a lifetime of memories, there's something you should remember: the value of working with a realtor. A realtor is more than an expert in the field who abides by a code of ethics. A realtor is your neighbor and your ally, someone who puts your agenda ahead of theirs, someone who understands your dreams and has the expertise to make them a reality. Finding the right place starts with you and a realtor, and the doors we open together. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
Okay, set it down over there and then go to bay 5.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business
You
thin.
need to keep going to finish.
Like Amir's warehouse. To expand capacity, he needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
Hello, Cape May County. This is County Commissioner Len Desiderio.
co-chair of the County Recovery Task Force. We know that there are a lot of questions about the COVID vaccination. Please go to capemaycounty.nj.gov for information and to register in the state system. The beginning of this effort has been very challenging as we wait for the federal and state governments to implement distribution. But we already lead the state in vaccine administration, and we are ready to expand our efforts as soon as the state distributes larger amounts of vaccine to us. Please go to capemaycounty.nj.gov and click to register and check back often for more information. You will then be notified by the state when your turn comes about how to schedule your appointment. Go to capemaycounty.nj.gov and register now. Please go to capemaycounty.nj.gov for information and to register in the state system. Let's vaccinate safely together.
Starting route.
Where'd you find time to
plan the trip?
No, to find
new phones? They're from Walmart Family Mobile. Got a truly unlimited plan. Turn right.
Right turn ahead.
With no contract. This way's quicker.
Recalculating.
Makes me feel like I'm a step ahead. Almost, honey.
Are we there yet?
Get a truly unlimited plan with 30 gigabyte hotspot for just $49.88 a month. Powered by T-Mobile. Walmart Family Mobile. Stay a step ahead. HD video streaming up to 720p. See terms and conditions at myfamilymobile.com. Available at Walmart.
According to the National Institutes of Health, 30% of hospital admissions in older adults are drug-related, like taking meds at the wrong time. Hero Health simplifies medication management. The smart device stores up to 90 days worth of up to 10 different pills. It dispenses them at the push of a button. Try Hero risk-free for 30 days and get free contactless delivery. Just call 800-420-7550. That's 800-420-7550. 800-420-7550. Hero, medication managed.
The average 30-second radio ad has about 75 words of salesy messaging. Nobody's got time for that many salesy words. Let's do ourselves a favor and see if we can keep it under 10. Okay, count it out. Acura, President's Day, event. Going on now. Attractive offers. One word to spare. Look at that. Acura. Less talk, more drive.
For attractive offers on the entire Acura lineup, visit your Delaware Valley Acura dealer today.
The Sports Bash with Mike Gill and Brodes on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And now you can watch the show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 97.3ESPN.com.
I got this text message that just came in. It says, Mike, you might get trout if it was a high school or organized basketball game. If it was a random pickup game with Joe Schmo playing, that doesn't count.
See, to me, that's the same thing. Because it's not baseball. So I don't care if it's Joe Schmo or...
But you should have seen Mike Trout play basketball. He was pretty good.
Yeah, but see, here's where I disagree with the whole baseball card thing. Because if you find that lucky, rare baseball card, most likely that guy played baseball. You know what I mean?
All right, okay, think about it like this. When I say Deion Sanders, what do you think of him as?
Football.
Right, but he played Major League Baseball. But so if I saw him play high school baseball, that's pretty cool.
All right, well, if Mike Trout ever makes the NBA, then I will say the day he plays in the NBA that you are right in this situation.
Same with Bo Jackson.
But these guys played at the professional level, not some high school game. That, by the way, that Joe Schmo that you play a pickup probably plays in those high school games too.
This guy played in a high school game, by the way. It wasn't a pickup game. It was a regular high school basketball game. I saw him play, multiple times. It wasn't just one random time either.
I don't know. I mean, it's just so crazy. If I was a hockey player and someone watched me play baseball when I was 12, I don't see the correlation. Like, oh, yeah, I watched Hunter Brody play baseball when he was 12.
12's different. Well, this guy was in high school.
Well, high school, 14, 15, if he was a freshman?
Yeah, he was a senior.
Okay.
It was his senior year.
That
so
doesn't
change
18. It doesn't change much.
A couple months later, he got drafted
to play a different sport.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if I see Serena Williams buying a CD, that does nothing for me. If I see her play tennis, that does something for me.
He said he saw Tim Duncan at the movies.
Yeah, I'm out on that.
And he said that was way better than seeing him dunking on.
Well, from a personal relation standpoint, I would imagine. So I'd be like, hey, Serena, want me to get this for you?
So for those of you who are just jumping in on this conversation, right? By the way, there's some news that just came down. The Eagles will be releasing Alshon Jeffrey when the league year begins. It's been obvious for quite some time, but that is now official that the Eagles will be releasing Alshon Jeffrey. They also released Deshaun Jackson officially. So Jackson and Jeffrey are going to be gone. So it's not news that the Eagles are planning on releasing Jackson. It's just that this is now going to be official. But just to throw that out there because it just came across. But the thing that we were talking
more
about.
Importantly.
Right. The question that if you're just tuning in, the thing that we had talked about was the name an athlete you watched play before they became famous. And I said, I saw Mike Trout play, but I saw him play basketball, not baseball. Would that?
I don't think that fits because it's irrelevant to what they're famous for.
Doesn't matter. It's still a guy who's the best player of his sport playing another sport.
If you watched Michael Jordan cook a steak,
I'm not talking about cooking.
But that's how
playing a sport.
But that's how I see it. It's so not the same because it's completely different from what they're famous for that I don't care because it's not the same thing. Because you didn't see them doing their craft. Watching Michael Jordan cook a steak means nothing.
It would be different. It's not cooking a steak. This says name an athlete you watch play, not cook, not clean. Not pick up trash. It was play. It didn't say play their sport.
So if you watch them play backgammon, is that cool? So I watched.
It's not a sport.
Well, it says play. So I watched Mike Trout play backgammon. Does that fit this narrative?
No.
I don't see how that would be different in your mind. Then.
Because I watched him play before he became famous.
Play blackjack. What if he was sitting at the blackjack table?
Out.
See, now you're not being consistent.
It's not an athletic event.
But what makes, out of this statement right here, name an athlete you watched play before they became famous. What makes that an athletic event?
I think the inference is watch play a sport.
Well, to be honest with you, they did not clarify very well here.
Well, that's why I said I watched Mike Trout, but I watched him play basketball.
You ever a backgammon guy?
No.
Okay.
But I was a watch Mike Trout play basketball guy.
Well, it's a shame because that doesn't fit this.
It was pretty amazing watching him play basketball because,
I can imagine
at that time, you didn't know he was going to be even a professional basketball player. You didn't even know he was going to be drafted, for God's sakes. I'm talking like February of his senior year. He had committed to play baseball at East Carolina. So it's not like East Carolina is some perennial top 25, national championship college baseball program.
Right.
Right? It's not like he was like, hey, I'm going to Vanderbilt or Clemson or Texas. He's going to East Carolina.
Well, that reminds me of when I went to Gloucester Catholic. I had someone in my graduating class, Mike Schwarin, played high school basketball there at Gloucester Catholic. He was committed to Maryland. Now he's in the bullpen for the Red Sox. Does that count that I watched this kid play?
Yeah.
When he played basketball at Gloucester Catholic?
And I'll give you a reason why. And here's a great one. Okay, here's another guy, an athlete I watched play before they became famous. Mike Gesicki from Southern. He is the tight end for the Dolphins. He played at Penn State. The dude was an absolute dominating beast on the basketball court. Now, he could have chosen to play basketball had he wanted to. He elected to go play football. But watching him on the basketball court was unbelievable. And if Gene Allen, the head coach of Atlantic City, is listening, he is laughing right now saying, that guy killed me. He killed me out there.
All right, well, here's where I'll say you might be right. If Mike Trout averaged 6 points per game, if he gave me 30 a night, then I'd say, ooh, wow, that's special talent. But if he's
that wasn't his game.
If he's your 7 point per game guy or 6 point per game guy, then I can't. It needs to be to the level.
He might have averaged 10 rebounds per game. He was one of those guys.
He's a Dwight Howard.
He was the hustler. He grabbed all the rebounds.
I'm out on that. Then because now you're not appreciating a special talent dominate. What you just explained to me was this kid was such an athlete he would tear up opponents. You're giving me 6 rebounds out of Mike Trout here.
10.
That's not moving my needle.
I said 10. And by the way, he grabbed all those rebounds as like a 5'9" guy. He was, or 6'1". He was like a 6'1" power forward.
I'm not buying this. I'm out.
So what would be your answer? Name an athlete you watch play before they became famous.
I mean, I guess the answer has to be Johnny Gaudreau because we played on the same team at Gloucester Catholic when I was a freshman. He was an upperclassman, and we played on the same team together. So it's got to be him. I mean, he's the most well-known hockey player that I know in my circle. So it's got to be.
All right. So is there anyone outside of the hockey world?
Right. That's where things get interesting a little bit.
Like I said, one of the guys that I brought to the table was
trying to think.
Karl Anthony Towns.
Yeah, that's a good one.
All right. I called one of his game, and that was, I think he was actually, if you remember, Karl Anthony Towns went to Kentucky after his junior year. He matriculated and left early. He left high school early to go college. So I called a game, I'm pretty sure, was in his junior year. Now, also on his team in that game, there was another guy who played on the same team with him who went D1. I can't remember who he was, but Karl Anthony Towns did not have a very big game against Atlantic City. He had foul trouble and kind of was on the bench a lot of that game. They still won the game, but he would be there. I can't think of like another, like, because I called so many basketball games.
Yeah.
You would think these names would, but like I don't have them just like coming to me to the extent of Karl Anthony Towns, the number one pick in the draft.
That should stick out. That should be one that stands out. Yeah, I don't have anyone that really outside of the hockey world. Most of mine is just flat out hockey. So I'm trying to think of some high school situations, but I don't really have anything that stands out to me to that level.
I guess another like
Karl Anthony Towns like a big deal though. That's a good one. Not so much.
Believe me, like you're like, oh, this guy's going to Kentucky, and a lot of times you get these guys from this area that go play like a big time college, and then maybe they don't get a lot of playing time there, or they don't make it to the pros. He not only made it, he was the number one pick in the draft, and he's been a very good player. It's not like he was Michael Olowokandi and turned into a bust.
Yeah, I guess I wonder. Demir Bird plays in the NFL right now. He's a wide receiver, bounced around a little bit, and he played at Timber Creek. And my brother was at Timber Creek at the same time. I'm pretty sure they graduated together. If not, it was 1 year separated. So I might have seen Demir Bird play back in the Timber Creek days before he went to the NFL. So that's one that might stick out to me. He's bounced around a little bit. He was with the Patriots last year, but he's made a nice little name for himself.
Now, Joe Callahan, he's another interesting one. I watched him play a bunch. This is kind of interesting. So he played at Holy Spirit. He was the quarterback. And Tommy is watching on Facebook. He said he could dunk with ease during basketball games in high school. He ended up going Division III because at Holy Spirit, they never threw.
Wow. It hurt him.
They ran an offense that he didn't throw the football all that much at all. So he goes, I think it's D3. I'm pretty sure he was D3. And he gets picked up by the Packers. And he had a cup of coffee with the Eagles. I mean, he didn't make the Eagles.
Now, how do you feel if you're the coach of that team and it's like, here's this guy that is NFL level, and I just didn't even utilize him
What year was
Cal?
Because it could have been Greg Roman. He was the offensive coordinator there for a little while.
Yeah, not
for like a year.
Not to throw shots at anyone here, but you got an opportunity.
Well, I mean, I think they won the state championship. It was like, hey, let's just hand the ball off every time.
Right. Yeah, I'd be throwing it though.
It was like that was one of those things where Callahan, you could say you played before, but he's like a third. He's bounced around the NFL. He's got a couple different contracts. It's not like he got signed by the Packers, got cut, and then he's played with the Packers. I think he was with the Browns. I think he was with New Orleans. He's been with Philly. I don't know what he's doing now. I think he was playing in the XFL, but guys like that where I can't like.
Yeah, but it's because it's said here became famous. Like Joe Callahan isn't famous, so I guess Demir Bird wouldn't even really fit. I
don't even know who that is.
Yeah, he's been around. He played with Cam Newton for a couple years.
I'm not disputing. I've never heard of him.
Yeah, he's like
Mike
third
Gesicki is pretty. I wouldn't say he's famous,
right.
But he's famous a starting NFL tight end.
We can't go from Karl Anthony Towns and Mike Trout to Joe Callahan here. That's a significant drop.
True.
Unfortunately for Joe Callahan.
Now, I think Joe Callahan I saw play basketball too.
This doesn't count. I don't know if you're lying or not. You could have probably watched him.
No, he was there in 2008. So I do think that the offensive coordinator in 2008 was Greg Roman.
There you go.
Pretty sure, actually. 2008-09, somewhere in that range. I'm pretty sure. 2008. Yeah.
Right.
So Greg Roman was the offensive coordinator, and his quarterback was Joe Callahan, who ended up in the NFL, and he threw probably 10 passes all year.
How about that?
More than 10, but
it's pretty amazing, though.
Well, it's the basis of this Lamar Jackson offense. No throws, just all runs.
Yeah, it doesn't seem to be working for some of these mobile quarterbacks.
Well, what did was it Adam Kaplan or somebody on Friday or Thursday show was talking about? Who was it? They made a pretty good point. Maybe it was DeCecco. I don't remember. That talked about.
Well, we did ask him about Justin Fields and all.
It was It was Steve Smith was on Greeny, and he was talking about how the RPO offenses have proven to work in the regular season, but they're not working come playoff time. So teams that are ready to turn things over to these RPO style quarterbacks, are they ready to,
You sure that wasn't Tom from Summers Point with his RPO concept? You sure he didn't have the great point for you?
Right, exactly. No, it was Steve Smith was on Greeny show, and he was talking about how these RPOs are not winning.
Yeah, I do find it interesting because it is a copycat league, and you're seeing Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, all these mobile quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, and that's what you want to see. Josh Allen utilize his legs, and everyone's doing it. But there is a huge major flaw in it as well. So it's like everyone's copying because it's getting these chunk yards, and when things break down, you can run for 30 yards. But there's so many problems with the throwing game that I don't know. Is it beneficial to do the copycat league? Is it where if everyone does it, someone has to win, so then it'll make it look good anyway because someone's going to win, even though everyone uses it? There's such a big hole in the concept of the running quarterback right now.
Now, this is a question that came in off our conversation on Mike Trout.
Okay.
Brodes, if you saw Russell Wilson or Kyler Murray playing baseball, would that count?
Yeah, they got drafted, and they could play Major League Baseball, but they just choose not to. So that's different. They're at the professional level. But at what point if I'm watching them play in spring training in the MLB facilities and all, then yes. If I'm watching them play at a pickup park and they're doing batting practice or something, no. It's got to be in the MLB setting. So spring training, then yes, that counts.
Well, what about if you said I saw Kyler Murray play high school
You're
baseball?
right, because we're talking about, yes, I would count those.
Okay.
Yes. Mike Trout, we'd have to, let's call Mike Trout and see, let's hear his basketball background. If, you know what I mean, maybe there's more to it. That 10 rebounds, maybe he could have went somewhere.
Does playing against someone count? Because I played against Sam Dellenbear in high school. Dellenbear wasn't, he was a very good high school player. He was okay in college. The Sixers drafted him in the first round. He was a kind of a stiff.
Yeah, that counts.
I watched him a lot in college.
That counts. If you played against him, that definitely counts.
Other than that, I watched DeJuan Wagner play once. That's from Tom in the Village. Now, I watched Wagner's son play this weekend, so a couple of years from now when we're having this conversation.
What did he do? How do you do that?
He had a rough start, and in the third quarter, he scored like 16.
Okay.
And just kind of took
nice.
the game over.
Yeah.
Right? Brodes is correct. Mike Trout playing anything with baseball, which he's famous for, is only considered a meeting of Mike Trout. Well, it wasn't a meeting.
He didn't come shake your hand?
The question was, if you were listen to the question clearly, name an athlete you watched play before they became famous.
The watched play is just not describing what we need enough. Because as I mentioned, you can play many things. You can play cards. You can play backgammon.
No.
You can play Monopoly.
No.
You
This
can play
is
Sorry.
a sport.
Why are you just saying that, though?
That's how I took it.
But why is it playing? See, to me, I took it as playing the sport. You're saying play a sport. I see it playing the sport that you know them for.
Could be.
I'm always right.
Name an athlete you watched play before they became famous. So the point is, you saw them play something not knowing they would become famous. Whether it was the sport they ended up being famous for, this is where you first encountered this person. Be like saying, hey, if I saw Mike Tyson play football and he ends up being heavyweight champ of the world. I never saw him box, but man, I saw him play football. Pretty crazy.
No, look, I would acknowledge that that's cool. Does it fit this? No. But it's cool. I'm not downplaying that's cool. You saw him grab 10 rebounds. You can watch me grab 10 rebounds too.
Yeah, but you're not famous.
But I wouldn't be famous for basketball. You know what I mean? That's the point. It's like, whoop-de-doo. You saw a random person grab 10 rebounds who's not famous for basketball.
Guys, not sure if this counts, but I played with Joe Flacco at the University of Delaware. Obviously before he went pro, but you could just tell he had it. And after the scouts started to show up at practice, you knew it too. That's from Matt in Delaware.
See, this is what's interesting about the Delaware thing. Because it was UDel, we don't put as much stock into it. But if a player's already at a SEC school or something, they're already technically famous. You know what I mean? So, like, if you're talking about someone who played in the SEC, you need to catch them when they're in high school. But Joe Flacco, we count college because it's just UDel, even though he's playing college football. I just find it interesting how college for UDel is like, oh, yeah, so what, UDel? But for some of these other players, once they hit college, they're already famous. You can't even count that.
Now, Josh just found an article about Mike Trout playing basketball back in 2009 entitled, Mike Trout, just as intense on the basketball court. He averaged almost 15 a game. I'm a little surprised by that. I didn't know that he was a big scorer.
So he's a 15 and 10 guy now. He's a double-double machine.
Probably.
Well, now I'm questioning if he really had 10 rebounds. I don't know if I can trust
I don't know that those stats are out here.
I don't know if I can trust
here he goes.
Mike Trout knowledge.
It says the basketball team qualified for the playoffs after a 1-year absence in March and won its opening round contest. That achievement almost certainly would not have happened without Trout, who was good for a double-double on a nearly nightly basis, averaging 14.7 points per game. And he said, quote, I love playing basketball. It keeps me in great shape. It helps me with my speed.
Doesn't change the way I feel about my
double-double.
The double-double is good.
There's not NBA guys who played high school ball that get double-doubles.
Come on.
You think DJ Wagner's grabbing 10 boards a night?
Well, I mean, it's very position-based here. This guy's probably camping down low.
You know how many points a game Wagner's averaging?
16.
He's 22.
Wow.
He's the number one sophomore in the country, and Mike Trout was only 7 points behind him.
Well, yeah, but that's different. That's significantly different. You can't even compare. You'll probably find a bunch of guys that average 15 in high school that can't sniff the NBA jock straps.
Of course not. There's guys in high school that are averaging 25 a game that can't get.
Yeah, so that point's kind of out of here.
I don't know. Well, I know a lot of people are agreeing with me. Who's the guy that you saw play before they became famous? Jeff Bone and Pookie says, saw Russell Westbrook and Baron Davis before they got famous. That's legit. Were they ice skating?
That wouldn't count.
That would count. I'd love to see those guys on ice skating.
That would count?
Yeah.
If you watch them at the local...
No, not because ice skating is not a sanctioned high school sport.
What if you watched Mike Trout throw the discus?
Yeah, that's sanctioned. He'd be on the track team. Sports Bash brought to you by your Delaware Valley Acura dealers. For great deals on Acura's award-winning lineup, shop online at DelValAcuraDealers.com. Back with more.
Turn it on. Leave it on. The Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
Bigger, better, Boardwalk. Boardwalk Honda. Bigger, better, Boardwalk. Boardwalk Honda.
Your brand new Honda is waiting for you at Boardwalk Honda. Stop in and shop our complete new inventory. Accords, Civics, CRVs, you name it. And we have a great selection of SUVs with all-wheel drive capabilities, perfect for snowy conditions. Right now, lease a new 2021 HRV LX all-wheel drive for just $99 a month. Or lease a new 2021 CRV EX all-wheel drive for $189 a month. Plus, browse our entire selection of pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas. We have it all from store to shore. We're sure to have the vehicle you want at the price you want. Plus, we work with all credit situations. Boardwalk Honda partners with over 25 top financial lenders, so we'll help you get approved and on the road in your new Honda in no time. Visit Boardwalk Honda today, located in Egg Harbor Township, or shop online at BoardwalkHonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal.
Bigger, better, Boardwalk. Boardwalk Honda.
Call us toll free at 844-890-3390 for more details.
Gary is refinancing his home, so he shopped around for the lowest rate and found it at AmeriSave.com, setting him up for a lifetime of savings. It's one decision he'll never regret, unlike taking that gig in the testing lab at the deodorant company.
Raise your arm, please. Oh, man, I hate this job.
Pretty regrettable, Gary. Unlike finding that low mortgage rate at AmeriSave.com that's got you on your way to a lifetime of savings. AmeriSave's rates won't be this low forever, so go to AmeriSave.com now. Lower mortgage rates mean higher savings. Call 866-514-SAVE or visit AmeriSave.com/licensing for cost information, terms, and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all states except New York. And MLS number 1168.
Maxwell, he was scratching and losing some hair. My vet, she says, oh, he must be allergic to chicken. Another vet said he could drain. Third vet said it's the weather. Then somebody said
DINOVITE.com.
It took 2 weeks, and the dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out. The Dinovite is a big part of Maxwell's diet.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
DINOVITE.com.
Have you ever wanted to learn a new language like French, Spanish, or Russian, but thought it would be too difficult and time-consuming? Then go to Babbel.com and try it for free. Babbel works because it's built around real life. It teaches you everyday practical conversations that you will actually use. In 15 minutes a day, you'll be on your way to speaking a new language in just a few weeks. Babbel uses a modern conversation-based technique that makes language engaging, fun, and memorable. It starts by teaching you words and phrases. Then, sentences gradually get more complex. Soon, you're practicing short conversations about real-life topics. Babbel is created by language experts who use the spaced repetition method to help you learn quickly and remember what you learned. With Babbel, you can speak a new language. Babbel. Language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
The Capital One Quicksilver Card Show.
Cut! The Capital One Quicksilver Card is simple. No need for a whole song and dance. Don't be sad. With Quicksilver, you earn unlimited 1.5% cash back on every purchase everywhere. That's the spirit. The Capital One Quicksilver Card is simple, unlimited 1.5% cash back. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Capital One Bank, USA, N.A.
Kendall Auto Plaza offers the area's best car and truck buying experience with 60 years of customer satisfaction and community service. What's on their 100-acre lot? A huge inventory of Ford, Lincoln, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler, and over 100 quality and certified pre-owned vehicles. Whether you use your car, truck, or SUV for work or play, discover why Kendall customers are so loyal. Kendall Auto Plaza, exit 10 of the Parkway on Stone Harbor Boulevard, or shop from home at KendallAutoplaza.com.
Now, back to the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN.
All right, Sports Bash Live with you here on 97.3 ESPN. This hour brought to you by Prop Swap, America's sports betting marketplace. Sell your sports bets, take your profit, find out how. That's PropSwap.com, or download the PropSwap app today. Speaking of PropSwap, you could get a ticket right there, right now. You better get it now on Joel Embiid to be MVP. It's the best odds in the country. It's like 4-1. I haven't seen it anywhere better than that. The way he played the other night, 50. I'd go buy that ticket because you might make a little bit of money at the end of the year if you want to prop swap that thing, because he might be the favorite by the end of the year. He keeps playing like he did on Friday night. Now, people will say, well, what did he do last night? Well, he still had a pretty big game last night. It's just not 50.
Yeah, it was the first. That was definitely one of, I mean, it's been how many games since he's had a legit down game? Like, we called his down game the other night a down game, and he had 31, 11, and 9, 1 assist shy of a triple-double. This is the first one where I think he struggled. He struggled. But let's see how they elect to kind of counter this thing on Tuesday.
Poll question over the weekend. I wanted to get your take on because I didn't hear an answer from you. Now that the Wentz trade is in the books, we start to look at free agency and the NFL draft. What should the Eagles do with the number 6 overall pick? You have 1 hour left to vote. Is there a specific player? Leave that in the comments section. We've got over 500 votes in on this. Quarterback, wideout, line, or linebacker / corner defense. Right now, I didn't even see who's leading in the clubhouse. I didn't vote. I didn't see it yet. So this will be the first time when I click on this, I reveal the actual answer. Did you vote?
I did.
All right. So we will get into this on the other side here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN. Go ahead to 97.3 ESPN on Twitter and vote in the poll question. What should the Eagles do with the number 6 pick? Vote now at 973 ESPN. Don't forget, go to our website, 973ESPN.com, and find out which Phillies player ESPN thinks could be on the move if the Phillies make a trade. Which player on the current roster is the one player other teams might be looking at? Get that now at 973ESPN.com. You can also check out which player the Sixers could be targeting if they want to make a major move. That's all now at 973ESPN.com, plus 5 takeaways from the Flyers' brutal loss against the Bruins yesterday in Lake Tahoe. That's all coming up. We've got another hour. We hope you stick around here on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Sign up now for this year's $1 Million Bracket Challenge. Registration is underway now at 973ESPN.com and the free mobile app until the tournament begins. The listener whose bracket has the most correct will win a $500 golden getaway in Atlantic City. Thanks to our friends at GoldenNuggetSports.com, and the top 20 listener brackets will receive a free bet at GoldenNuggetSports.com. So register for the $1 Million Bracket Challenge.
Hell yeah!
Now at 973ESPN.com or the free mobile app. Must be 21 plus to place a bet. Only available in New Jersey. Free bets are for online sportsbook only. Please see website for terms and conditions.
A national championship.
So head to 973ESPN.com or the free mobile app and register for the $1 Million Bracket.
Let's get to work, South Jersey. Today, commuting challenges aren't just an inconvenience. They affect quality of life, independence, and mobility. Cross County Connection, the region's Transportation Management Association, is dedicated to improving the quality of life in South Jersey through transportation solutions. www.driveless.com is your key to mobility, providing public transportation resources, commute planning, and employer programs. Let Cross County Connection help you get there. 856-596-8228. Funded by the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority and the Federal Highway Administration, which assume no liability for its contents.
So you think you have unlimited data?
Recalculating.
Think again. If you have unlimited data on a network you can't trust, your data is limited, and so are you. Set your smartphone free with the unlimited plan from Total Wireless. Get 4 lines with unlimited data on the nation's best network now with 5G, with 100 gigabytes at high speed, then 2G, for just $25 a month per line.
You have arrived at your destination.
Get unlimited and save. Total Wireless. Do amazing. Available at Walmart. See terms and conditions at TotalWireless.com.
If you're an athlete or live an active lifestyle, aches and pains can be part of the game. That's where Trifecta Therapeutics comes into play. Trifecta Therapeutics is a premier sports rehabilitation physical therapy center located centrally for anyone in South Jersey, right in Glassboro. Their team of the highest skilled docs takes a unique approach to physical therapy and rehab, whether you're a weekend warrior or a finely tuned athlete. They treat the pros and the Joes. To find out more about Trifecta Therapeutics and how they can help you, check out TrifectaTherapeutics.com.
O'Reilly. It's O Rewards Bonus Points Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts, which means you'll save money and reach your next reward even faster. Earn double O Rewards points on 5 quarts of Mobil 1 full synthetic motor oil, just $28.95, and get a $10 gift card after mail-in rebate. Collect 150 points and get a $5 reward. Don't miss O Rewards Bonus Points Month at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
So you think you have unlimited data?
Recalculating.
Think again. If you have unlimited data on a network you can't trust, your data is limited, and so are you. Set your smartphone free with the unlimited plans from Total Wireless. Get 4 lines with unlimited data on the nation's best network now with 5G, with 100 gigabytes at high speed, then 2G, for just $25 a month per line.
You have arrived at your destination.
Get unlimited and save. Total Wireless. Do amazing. Available at Walmart. See terms and conditions at TotalWireless.com.
Hey, Matthew, we need to restock those sleeping bags.
Indeed knows unexpected growth can stretch your business thin.
One of you cover this register?
Like at Anita's outdoor store. To keep sales climbing, she needs to get started hiring right away.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. And the moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first sponsored job post. Terms and conditions apply.
What you doing? Designing my new 2021 Nissan Kicks online in the Kicks Color Studio. I give each a special name. This one's electric blue, orange, red, white. I call it the gumball machine. You think it's me?
I feel like you're more of a red velvet guy.
Limitless possibilities. With over 100 million available color combinations and Bose Personal Plus system in the boldly new 2021 Nissan Kicks. Bose is a registered trademark of the Bose Corporation. Color combinations include interior and exterior colors. Customization is an available feature subject to availability at participating Nissan dealers. See dealer for details.
We know you're spending a lot of time at home, and maybe that home could use a little TLC. Since going to a home show isn't really a thing right now, 97.3 ESPN FM is bringing the home show to you. Local exhibitors have been setting up in a virtual show featuring the latest products and services for your home. Go to 973ESPN.com to find great articles on home improvement tips and trends. Thanks to our friends at Broadley's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Broadleys.net, your trusted source for 3 generations.
The radio home of the 76ers.
That's what he does, bucket.
WENJ HD Millville, Atlantic City. 97.3 ESPN. This is the Sports Bash with Mike Gill on 97.3 ESPN. Now, live inside the Matt Black Kia Studios, here's Mike Gill.
All right, final hour of the show. We got a lot to dive into. We'll get into that poll question where you guys have voted over 500 times to tell us who you think which position really. And a lot of people commented in on who they should go with that 6th pick in the draft now that the dust has settled on that trade. Carson Wentz is out. Now what should they do? Check that out at 97.3 ESPN if you want to vote. On Twitter. Sports Bash brought to you by Broadleaf's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning, your local provider who makes it easy to upgrade your home to the most efficient energy equipment on the market. Plus, learn how to get a free furnace during the month of March only. Online at broadleafs.net. Mike Gill, Hunter Brody. This is the Sports Bash on 97.3 ESPN. We talked a lot about the possibility of trading for Kyle Lowry in hour one, some Sixer stuff. We mixed in the Flyers conversation. They had a tough weekend. Well, really Thursday night they lost to the Rangers, and then last night they had that awful game against Boston. Sixers lose to the Raptors. Phillies at spring training. Got some roster battles going on, but really the Eagles are still kind of in the forefront. They're going to make it official. They're going to release Alshon Jeffrey. So now Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson, their number 1 and number 2 wide receivers entering the last 2 seasons, Brodes, are both going to be gone. So you're going to be starting from scratch there. But the question that we have up at 973 ESPN, now that the Wentz trade is in the books, what should the Eagles do with the number 6 overall pick? Now, I have not looked at this at all. Over 500 votes have been placed. Quarterback, wideout, O-line, or linebacker / corner. Because I think on defense, they're the only 2 spots you're probably going to draft at number 6. So which way did you go?
So I voted wide receiver, but I will say that I honestly, if you tell me you get one of these players, I don't care. So if it's Chase, Devontae Smith, Parsons, Pitts, or Surtain, any of those 5 players, I am absolutely 100% okay with. But when voting for this poll, I did say wide receiver.
All right, so right now, and you have an hour left to vote, we'll give you to the end of the show, 57% said wide receiver.
Does that stun you? Or no? Does that fit kind of what the outrage has been over like the last couple of months?
I just feel that wide receiver they've missed on, so people feel like they have to get one. Well, you just mentioned it.
With Alshon and Deshaun out, you have Rager, Ward, Fulgham. Like, there's
Arcega-Whiteside.
There's room for one there to go out and get a Devontae Smith or a Chase. And like I said, I'm cool with other positions too, but I think I would prefer a Chase or a Devontae Smith if possible.
So to answer your question, no, I'm not surprised that wide receiver is winning. Second on this list is quarterback, though. I'm a little surprised that people would like to go quarterback at number 6 overall. The next one is what I voted for, linebacker or corner. I would like Patrick Surtain as my number 1 guy. I think at number 6, if he's the guy available, that's who I would like to see them bring in. So that was my vote. And then last on this list is offensive line, 13%.
Yeah, I'm surprised at 13% offensive line. I'm surprised that offensive line is even in the same category-ish. Like, linebacker, really, 14, 13, 15, everything other than wide receiver is somewhat even.
I was going to say, the wide receiver took 57%, and then the other 3 were all within 1% of each other, 13, 14, 15. So people were really mixed on that second thing. It seems that most people feel that wide receiver is the biggest need spot for this team. And, I
don't know if it's the biggest need because they need an outside corner just as much as they need a wide receiver. That's why I said I don't care, because I think I value personally, as much as that wide receiver is needed, that outside corner, Avonte Maddox got shredded every week. You had nothing over there. So the hole at outside corner is just as significant as the hole at wide receiver, in my opinion. That's the way I see it.
Well, see, I'm one of those people that feel like I don't want to neglect the wide receiver position, but there's not a lot of evidence of that wide receiver being the difference in a Super Bowl team and not winning the Super Bowl. Typically, like somebody said the other day, I saw a tweet that a player that, unless you're getting Randy Moss at number 6. And I said, even Randy Moss never won a Super Bowl. Like, you can have Randy Moss, the best wide receiver in the league, and you didn't win it. No team won a championship with Randy Moss on their team.
Yeah, I don't disagree with what you're saying, because I think that there is an overreaction to getting a Julio Jones, an OBJ, like this flashy number 1 guy. You don't need that, but my problem is you significantly need an upgrade. So how do you get that upgrade? But I agree with you. The banging on the table for that stud number 1 lethal guy, there is an overreaction.
Yeah, like I feel like getting a guy at number 6 is great. Like if you get Jamar Chase, look, I don't think anybody out there thinks Odell Beckham stinks.
Right.
But he hasn't won skedaddle.
Look at the Vikings last year with Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen, right? I mean, 2 studs.
And they had Diggs and Thielen before that.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't always result in this insane success, but they do need help there, clearly.
Look, the Atlanta Falcons had Julio Jones. They drafted Calvin Ridley in the first round. I mean, you have 2 first-round picks at wide receiver, and they're right back drafting in the top 5 again. So having these great wide receivers is a nice luxury to have. The problem is when you draft at that spot, you're typically leaving the cupboard bare in other areas like your offensive line, and you can't get the ball to those guys. That's a big problem. So, like, to me, I want to see if Jalen Reagor can play in an offense that maybe is better suited for his skill set. Like, I agree with what you said a lot about, I don't think Doug Peterson designed a great offense last year. I don't like what he did with Reagor at all. I thought he could have got him the ball in much more creative ways than what he ended up doing. So I'm gonna I guess entrust Nick Sirianni that he's going to come up with better ways to get the ball to Jalen Reagor. So I'm intrigued by that. Do I think J.J. Arcega-Whiteside is all of a sudden going to become a serviceable and productive wide receiver? No, I don't. I think I'm kind of past that. But I'm willing to give Sirianni a shot to use him and see how he's going to use him in the offense. I think that Fulgham, I don't really know what to think about Fulgham. Do you? Do you have an opinion on what you think Fulgham's going to be or not going to be? He might not. Who the hell even knows if he makes the team?
Yeah, he went from stud for 4 games to horrible body language and like, because that was the knock on him. It was the way he was practicing and the way that people would look at the way that he was disappointed in what's going on. Like, he was clearly showing bad practice habits, and that's one of the reasons why he wasn't there. So no, I don't know what to really expect. And I wonder if he felt that way because he felt Alshon Jeffrey was just handed the job back and didn't really earn it. I wonder if there's a correlation there. But, I don't know with Jalen Reagor. Can you see a situation where he plays similar to how Ayuk is used in San Francisco, where it's more like versatile, end around, like, you know what I mean? Something like that. I feel like that's a role that maybe Jalen Reagor can be beneficial in.
No doubt. I thought that they could do more bubble screens.
Yeah, Deebo Samuel was another one. That way the 49ers use some of their wide receivers.
Definitely. And I think Sirianni is probably going to be a little bit more creative, and I hope anyway.
Yeah.
Right? I hope.
Yeah, you would think. You would think that that's something that would be implemented more.
Yeah, I like, so I don't feel like I like Jamar Chase. I think he's going to be the best of this crew. He's the guy that I would probably take of the 3. If all 3 are on the board, I probably take him first.
Then Surtain?
No, I'm talking about the receivers.
Oh, okay. Of the 3 receivers. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think I would pick him. No, I don't think. At this point, that's who I would take. If all 3 receivers are on the board at number 6, Chase is the one I'm taking of the 3. Okay. But like, this is where I have to get an impact defensive player. I have to find someone on defense. Fletcher Cox getting old. Brandon Graham getting old. Rodney McLeod coming off the ACL. Darius Slay, I think, is going to be getting close to 30. I have to find someone on that defense that I want to build around. And if it's Surtain, if it's Micah Parsons, those 2 guys for me. On the offensive side of the ball, look, I got big turnover. I have the offensive line that's aging that I'm going to have to hope that I continue, and Howie Roseman has done a good job. Believe me, I know it's hard for people to hear this. He's done a good job at finding talent on the offensive line in the middle and later rounds. So I'm hoping that he lands a couple guys there. Jordan Mailata is a young guy that you could probably play for a couple more years. Sayamalo is a younger guy still in the interior, but you're going to have to, all of a sudden, you're going to have to figure out what to do with center if Kelce retires. You're going to have to figure out what to do with right guard at some point, but not right now. So I'm going to put that off. I'm going to kick the can down the road there. So again, I go back to the defensive side of the ball because I just drafted a wide receiver last year. I drafted a wide receiver the year before. I have a running back. I have a tight end. I'm going to say, look, this is going to be my offense again. And I'm going to hope the offensive line getting healthy makes this a better offense. But I have to start fixing that defense.
I do think the defense is definitely in shambles. And because everyone's so enamored with just the offensive side, which needs help, in my opinion, it definitely, I think, takes away from the holes defensively in some people's minds. So I just wrote down the possibility, let's say you get Surtain and Slay as your 2 corners, and your offense is Reagor, Fulgham, Ward, and J-Jaw as your receivers. is that better than having a hole at outside corner, but then having Chase, Rager, Ward, and Fulgham as your 4 receivers? The problem is it's because it's so big picture. It's, okay, say you get Surtain. Well, what else can you do? And maybe we can talk to Andrew DeCecco throughout the week where if you get Surtain, what can you do in the second round at wide receiver? Compared to if you get Chase, is there another outside corner that intrigues you in maybe the second round that would be worth taking? Maybe there's someone in terms of wide receiver. Is there someone in the second round that you'd rather go out and get Surtain at 1? Or is there a corner in the second round that you can go out and get Chase at 6?
Yeah, look, and I know people are screaming at their radios right now. Roseman can't draft. Fine, that's great. But just because you don't think he can draft doesn't mean that he shouldn't have a plan to try to draft, which means even though you don't think he can draft well, fine. He still has to go in and say, I need to find a wideout in round 2 or 3. I can't find I know as much as I would like to get one.
We did forget about, by the way, Quez Watkins and John Hightower. We didn't even mention those guys. I don't know what
weren't worth mentioning.
Well, over J-Jaw, I think maybe. We went J-Jaw over Quez Watkins and John
I'm going to say this now.
Uh-oh. Breakout season for J-Jaw.
No, but I feel that I'm hoping. And look, Peterson had other toys, okay? Let's say that. He had Zach Ertz. He had Zach Goddard. He had Miles Sanders. I don't know how high on the chart J-Jaw was for him. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's say in basketball terms, he may have been like the 5th guy in the offense. So I don't know how much they put in for him.
Well, maybe there's a reason why that was, though, right?
Well, when he was drafted, fair or unfair to say, a lot of people thought he was the replacement for
Alshon,
who's no longer here.
Yeah.
How much did Alshon kind of take his reps away?
I'm not
and I know Alshon had been hurt,
yeah.
But look, I'm not saying I have high hopes for JJ. I think a new staff might come in and say, this guy was a second-round pick. What's missing here? Why were they not able to get, you know what I'm saying? Like a new set of eyes might give him a new lease on life. That's
at the time of the draft, though, I think when we really looked at him, we really did, a lot of us looked at the red zone part of things. Like, okay, wow, you can have Ertz and Goddard and Alshon and J-Jaw, and that could totally be this red zone factor. Maybe to try and salvage this thing. Maybe they have him in just red zone packages, because that was a strong area for him, was the red zone. You can box guys out. Maybe he's not an every down guy and he's this guy you can rely on. And look, I'm not a betting man. I'm not putting betting money on this at all. But I'm just saying, if we want to look optimistically at this, could the best optimistic view be J-Jaw can maybe be a red zone target?
Hey, if that's what he turns out to be and catches 5-6 touchdowns in the red zone. He's one of the guys.
Hurts did have that one play to him at the end of last year. Remember, J-Jaw made that insane catch where he was actually, I think he was defended pretty well, and he made a hell of a catch with Jalen Hurts throwing it to him.
Now, Sammy is watching on YouTube. He says, I love Quez. I like Quez Watkins too. I feel like he's the kind of guy that if you put in certain packages for him, you can maximize, I talk about this a lot, accentuate his positives. I feel like there's packages that he can run in the NFL. Tyreek Hill, small guy, a lot of speed. They figured out ways to use him. I'm not saying Quez Watkins is going to be Tyreek Hill, but I think you can get Watkins to do the things that he does best and get something out of him rather than, he's not an every down player, but maybe he gets out there for 10 to 12 plays a game and does exactly what he's best at. That's what I thought Peterson could have done a better job.
Yeah. Now the Schweimer chimes in. If you want to throw his comment on there, I think it's interesting to bring up the trading down concept. Are you still okay with interested in the trading down thing? Because we talked about this before.
Yep.
But now that it's getting closer, has your opinions changed or anything like that?
I think that might be the best scenario is if you get the right offer to try to trade down and get more picks. Now, here's the thing. I think they have 11 picks in this draft. And they got cap problems already. So how are you going to sign all these guys? That's another problem. You bring all these guys in, now you got to sign them.
Yeah, but you got to think, I don't have the draft picks in front of me and all, but, if you start talking about the 5th, 6th, 7th round guys, like, I don't know, like, if you're telling me you can trade down and get a higher pick, that shouldn't stop you because you're worried about signing some of these later round picks. If you have 11 total, you shouldn't be too worried about that 5th, 6th, 7th rounders if you can get a better scenario up top, if that makes sense. You know what I mean?
Let me see if I can quickly pull up I don't know that they've all been assigned.
I'm okay with trading down. It just, like, half of me thinks this. Go get your guy. Don't play around. Go get an impact guy. Don't play around. But the other side of me says, look, you have so many flaws. You have so many issues. If you can find a way to land 2 opportunities here, let's be smart about it. So it's almost like I'm kind of conflicting in my own gut here.
This is what they have. They have their own 1, their own 2. They have 2 3s. They have 2 5s, a 6, and a 7. And they're also currently projected to receive a 6th-round pick for the loss of Jordan Howard during free agency of last year. That's according to Jimmy Kempski. So they would have 2 3s, 2 5s, 2 6s, and a 7, plus a 1 and a 2.
Right, but I'm just saying, if you trade out of that top pick to get another pick, if you're afraid of having too many picks, well, you should. Where do you value those later picks compared to that higher one that you're getting?
9 picks, by the way.
9 picks.
Maybe they traded their 4th-round pick away for Jannard Avery.
By the way, speaking of that, did you see switching positions to linebacker?
I think that was that big.
No,
he was kind of a linebacker, and then they brought him here and switched him to DN.
Yeah, and then now they're trying to, I guess, go back in. But we saw him last year when he was standing up. He was actually making some good plays, and we were intrigued.
One game.
Yeah, it was one game.
49ers.
Yeah, it was one game, but hey, it happened.
Now, the Eagles moved back 18 spots on day 3 of the 2020 draft and picked up Dallas's 5th-round pick. So they have 2 5ths. One of them is from the Cowboys, which I would imagine, since the Cowboys were so bad this year, that's going to be a decent 5th. They're probably both in the top 10 of the 5th round. So they have their own 1, their own 2, their own 3, the Colts 3, their own 5th, the Colts 5th, their own 6th, 7th, and it looks like they're going to get a comp pick for the Howard.
Do they try and move like 2 5s and a 4th to like slide up somewhere or something? If they have 9 picks, maybe they try and go from a 5th.
I would imagine.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would imagine that you have the 2 5. Remember last year, how many times they traded, moved, got up, and all over the place.
Yeah.
So, look, for those of you out there who are not Roseman fans, on the day of the draft, you're always watching because he's always moving and shaking and getting you guys. And look, remember last year, the day after the draft, people were excited that he went out and targeted speed at the wide receiver position. Here's the problem. People want these 6th, 5th, and 6th round and 6th and 7th round guys to come in and contribute right away. Well, a 5th and 6th round wide receiver aren't going to come right in and play, but in year number 2. Now, here's another issue is now they're all getting new coaching staffs.
Yeah. But maybe that's for the positive, though.
Could be.
Yeah, maybe it is. I mean, we talk about it all the time how this organization hasn't had a secondary player or a wide receiver really develop into anything super strong. So, you know, where's that? And I'm just thinking about some secondary players like Kayvon Wallace. What do we expect from him this season?
Keep this in mind. Marty brought this up on Thursday. I asked him about the relationship between Wentz and Hurts, and he said, no, they got along. They weren't around each other all that much because of the COVID.
Yeah.
You know, the whole thing, if the Eagles have all these younger players last year, you didn't get a training camp, you didn't get mini camp, and you might say, well, neither did a lot of these other teams. Absolutely fair, but you're going to be bringing in a new coaching staff now with all these young players. Let's hope that they get a chance to get some mini camp because you're hoping that these guys take a step in year number 2, and you're hoping that a new coaching staff gets more out of these guys if they're around them. But I don't know that there's any evidence that suggests they're going to have full-scale mini camps and stuff this year. Do you?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything in terms of, what the breakdown is going to be. And who knows? You talk about getting the vaccine, and a lot of these people are getting vaccine. So who knows what's going to actually go down in that time frame. But now you got my head all spinning thinking about things in their next year. Like Davion Taylor. What is he? If they get
nothing.
If they get
He's
Parsons,
exactly what he was last year.
But
nothing.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous then. Right? I mean, that's unacceptable.
How he can't draft.
Well, you're being sarcastic, but you're not at the same time, because is he going to be what he was last year? If so, that's a problem.
A new defensive coordinator here. I don't know what they do with him.
That's true. Gannon, yeah. What are we going to do with that whole thing? But
I said to Josh when I came in here today, and then I heard a little bit of you guys, you and Billy, both of you guys, Saturday and Sunday. I said, I don't know how you kept it together.
Why is that?
Well, he's going on about you need a football guy to run the football. You have to play you need a baseball guy to run. And you made up a great point. The last World Series winners, they're all not baseball guys.
No.
They're
Dodgers, they're number nerds.
Right. They're not baseball guys. They built the best teams in baseball. The Dodgers, the Rays. You had no baseball guys working.
No. And I would classify Dombrowski as a baseball guy, though. Like,
I don't even know that Dombrowski, what baseball did he play?
What Oh, in terms of did he actually play the game?
Well, if fair. Believe me, if Schweim is saying you're a baseball guy, it's not because you have a baseball mentality. It's because you played. You have to have played. Otherwise, you're not a baseball guy.
I'm looking up Dave Dombrowski's stats.
And then I said, Billy, do you understand? You're saying that Jerry Jones is not a football guy. He's the only owner in the league that played major college football. He played football at Arkansas. The only other football owner. I was like, do you realize that owners aren't former players? They're all businessmen who own teams. Of all of them, Jerry Jones is the one guy who did play football.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, yeah. We were talking about this too, because he had Ken Dunnick on, and he was like talking about Jaws being in the front office, being the next GM, and how great it would be. And, Ken Dunnick's awesome, dude. Very nice guy. But my point was, what does that mean? Because he was a quarterback?
I don't understand that mentality.
John Elway stinks as
awful.
a GM. Horrendous.
John Elway is an awful executive.
Right.
He's an awful executive. But people just fall in love with this notion that if you played, that you know how many people that I know that played and don't know skedaddle? You know what happens sometimes to these guys who play and it becomes a business for them? They don't love it.
Right.
It becomes a job. And they don't think of sports the way that we do. We are so passionate about it and love it because we can't do it at the level they can. And the problem with Michael Jordan, who plays the game and is an awful executive.
Great point, by the way.
Magic Johnson, awful executive. These guys played the game. They have a wealth of knowledge. The problem they have when they run a team.
Schweim's chiming in on the chat. It's great. I love it. I'm just picturing his voice screaming at us.
It's not that all guys are bad, but that's the thing on the other side. Just because you're not a person who played football doesn't mean you can't run a team. So, yes, some guys who played are good at running teams. Many of them are not. Michael Jordan, horrible. Magic Johnson, horrible. You know who was worse than those two? And those two were bad? Isaiah Thomas, horrible executive. They're terrible. And a lot of it isn't their fault. The problem is these players who played the game, especially at a higher level, they can't understand how people can't do things as well as they did, and they get frustrated by it, and then they make bad decisions. Former players are bad executives most of the time, not all of the time, but there's a reason why these guys don't get jobs doing this, because they're not good at it. They're not good at evaluating talent and what they're looking for. You talk to players all the time, the guys who used to play, and you live scratching your head sometime like, what are you watching?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. You
don't have to have you don't have to have played. Like, I played football in high school. Does that mean I'm a football guy?
Right.
I'm not a football guy. I played football in high school. I'm not a football guy.
Right. You know, that's what I was going to bring up.
I played baseball in high school. I would consider myself, of the sports I know best, baseball.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
I never played at any level higher than baseball, college, really. Does that make me qualified or not qualified? I think I know baseball pretty well. There's a lot of high school baseball coaches in this area. They didn't play baseball any higher than high school level.
Right.
But they're very good at what they do.
I'm with you. I think the whole conversation of you got to play the game to be good at it and all you got to play the game to understand the game is a flawed mindset. Like,
very flawed.
You can learn the game. How do you think these coaches learn? It's strategy. You study X's and O's. You study what zones beat what. You study everything. Like Ken Hitchcock's always the example. Ken Hitchcock's never played a damn game of hockey in his life. He's one of the best coaches in the NHL. Like, you learn strategy. You teach yourself it.
Durso just brought up this. He said, we had this topic a couple of years back. Wayne Gretzky, Patrick Roy were both terrible head coaches. Look, there's a reason why you get guys that are marginal players that become the really good head coaches.
Better ones.
Because typically you get guys who are not the best players, guys like us who are not the best players, who end up studying the game way more because the game doesn't come as easy to us. When you're so good at it, you don't have to study it as much, and that's why you're not really as good as a coach or an executive in that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I've dedicated myself to learn basketball to like a really good level. I never played high school basketball. I never played any sort of organized basketball. But when I became this diehard sports fan, I really studied and I would watch film and I would learn sets and I would learn the game. And now it's like, I never played, but am I not qualified to discuss it after putting my hard effort and determination into learning it? It's ridiculous.
One of the most foolish things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Is that
you
because you didn't
it.
play a game that you therefore are not qualified to either A, talk about it, or B, work in that sport. I mean, look, there's a lot of people. Daryl Morey said he had offers to go to run either baseball or football teams. He said he had multiple NFL teams reach out to him. He's like, I just don't know enough about the game. But I bet you if I studied it, like, I could figure it out. Daryl Morey didn't play basketball at any level other than whatever, maybe CYO, 8th grade. But he understands what to look for, what to evaluate. Daryl Morey can run a team.
Right.
Daryl Morey is very quality. He's not a basketball guy, and he can run a team. Your examples about the Dodgers, the Rays, you might not like the way they do it, but to say they're not qualified is preposterous. And by the way, again, to use Jerry Jones as your example of why you need a football guy is the worst example of them all. He's the only football guy who's an owner. Him and Jerry Richardson. Jerry Richardson played. He was the only former NFL player to own a team. Now he got fired because he was a racist. So he's out. I mean, he had to sell the team. Jerry Jones played major Division I college football. He was teammates with Jimmy Johnson. So he is a football guy, and he's still an idiot. Proving you don't need to be a football guy, a baseball guy, a basketball guy to run a franchise. You just need to be smart, study the game, know it very well. I know a lot of people don't like to read. They don't like to study. And that's why you feel like you have to have played as the only way to be able to run a team. Turns out there's many ways to skin a cat. All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. The comments are coming in. We'll continue next.
It's Sixers basketball tomorrow on 97.3 ESPN with the voice of the 76ers, Tom McGinnis, calling all the exciting play-by-play action.
Simmons, he's going to lay it up and in. Embiid with a block at one end, and Simmons like a freight train. Getting the layup.
The Sixers are in Tampa to face the Raptors tomorrow. Coverage begins at 7:30. Philadelphia 76ers basketball on your radio home of the Sixers in South Jersey. 97.3 ESPN.
Dorothy Roofing. It's a heart and a brain thing. Call 1-877-97-KEVIN. Wizard quality comes with DorothyRoofing.com.
Bigger, better, Boardwalk, Boardwalk Honda. Bigger, better, Boardwalk, Boardwalk Honda.
Your brand new Honda is waiting for you at Boardwalk Honda. Stop in and shop our complete new inventory. Accords, Civics, CRVs, you name it. And we have a great selection of SUVs with all-wheel drive capabilities, perfect for snowy conditions. Right now, lease a new 2021 HRV LX all-wheel drive for just $99 a month. Or lease a new 2021 CRV EX all-wheel drive for $189 a month. Plus, browse our entire selection of pre-owned and certified pre-owned Hondas. We have it all from store to shore. We're sure to have the vehicle you want at the price you want. Plus, we work with all credit situations. Boardwalk Honda partners with over 25 top financial lenders, so we'll help you get approved and on the road in your new Honda in no time. Visit Boardwalk Honda today, located in Egg Harbor Township, or shop online at boardwalkhonda.com. And remember, from Maine to Miami, nobody beats a Boardwalk deal.
Boardwalk Honda.
Call us toll free at 844-890-3390 for more details.
If you're a first-time buyer, finding your first real home can feel like this.
Hot property. Not going to last long. Multiple offers. 30-year fixed. We need earnest money.
But a realtor has the expertise to strip away all the noise and focus on what really matters to you.
You're going to love this place. Great neighborhood. School is walkable. It even has a huge yard so Henry can practice his penalty kicks.
Finding the right place starts with you and a realtor with the expertise to make sure your voice is the only voice that matters. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. That's who we are.
If you're struggling with a drug or alcohol addiction, now is the time to take action and get professional help. Call Recovery Centers of America at 1-888-RECOVERY today. You are worthy of recovery from your addiction, and calling RCA will be your first step in getting the help you need. Recovery Centers of America answers the phone and admits patients 24/7. And because safety is a top priority, all patients and staff are routinely tested for COVID-19. RCA's expert team of physicians and medical professionals will treat you with compassion and dignity and provide an evidence-based treatment plan that is custom-tailored to your specific needs. Recovery Centers of America at Devon and Lighthouse are local and in-network with insurance providers, so they're best-in-class inpatient and outpatient care, offered both in-person and via teletherapy, is affordable and accessible. Make this the year you conquer your addiction. Call today, 1-888-RECOVERY. That's 1-888-RECOVERY.
Let's get to work, South Jersey. Today, commuting challenges aren't just an inconvenience. They affect quality of life, independence, and mobility. Cross County Connection, the region's Transportation Management Association, is dedicated to improving the quality of life in South Jersey through transportation solutions. www.driveless.com is your key to mobility, providing public transportation resources, commute planning, and employer programs. Let Cross County Connection help you get there. 856-596-8228. Funded by the North Jersey Transportation Planning Authority and the Federal Highway Administration, which assume no liability for its contents. We know you're spending a lot of time at home, and maybe that home could use a little TLC. Since going to a home show isn't really a thing right now, 97.3 ESPN FM is bringing the home show to you. Local exhibitors have been setting up in a virtual show featuring the latest products and services for your home. Go to 973ESPN.com to find great articles on home improvement tips and trends. Thanks to our friends at Broadley's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning. Broadleys.net, your trusted source for 3 generations.
Tax refunds are great for fresh starts, especially in 2021. Refresh your ride with your refund at Mako and make the year one you'll never forget. Head to Mako.com to get a free estimate today. Better get Mako.
The Sports Bash with Mike, Gill, and Brodes on 97.3 ESPN, the free mobile app. And now you can watch the show live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at 97.3ESPN.com.
All right, Sports Bash Live, 97.3 ESPN. Good conversation as we got a lot of stuff coming in on the StreamYard chat. Text board is open, 609-403-0973. Guys, trade down maybe to Carolina or San Francisco. Eagles still get Surtain. I don't think so.
How deep are they?
I got to look. I think San Francisco.
Surtain's not going to be on the board that long after 6, right? I mean, I can't imagine him staying on the board for forever here.
Let's see. If you trade down, this is the Eagles are 6. I think San Francisco is Carolina. What were the 2 teams he said?
Carolina and
Carolina's 8.
Okay. You might be able to get him there.
San Francisco's 12. You're not getting him at 12.
No, 12, no. You might be able to get him at 8.
You're right on the edge there. Right there.
Right there. But now it's like you're playing with a little bit of fire. Are you trying to get too cute? What if you miss out on him?
Might be able to get Micah Parsons.
Right. What would you'd have to have us,
I don't know. I've seen Parsons going in a lot of mock drafts in that, like, right in that 6
What
area.
else would you get in return, though, to move from 6 to 8? So what would the Panthers give you to be like, yeah, let's move down 2? Would it be what would it take to make that jump?
I don't know if you're going to get the same deal that whoever traded with the Bears to get Trubisky, but they gave up a first-round pick. Was it the 49ers? They gave up the Bears gave up a first-round pick the following year.
Yeah, I can't imagine we're going to get anything close to that, unfortunately.
Probably not.
Billy's chiming back in here with some more executives and some people that have played the game before. But I brought this up to you off the air. You're going to find good players that played the game.
Yeah, we just said there are some guys who do a good job.
Yeah.
But the way that you're presenting it is that you have to.
Right.
And we're saying we just gave you a laundry list of guys who were players who were not very good, which means there are people who were not basketball guys or football guys or hockey guys or basketball or baseball guys that do a good. So you the whole point is you don't have to have a football guy running your football team to be a successful. Bob Kraft never played football. They're doing just fine, right?
Yeah.
Jerry Jones played football. They haven't won anything in 25 years. Art Rooney never played football. John Mara never played football. These owners don't play football.
Yeah.
So that is an asinine comment. On the baseball side of things, you can have a guy be the GM who played. Ruben Amaro Jr. played. Do you want Ruben Amaro Jr., a baseball guy, being your GM, or would you rather Dave Dombrowski, who I do not believe played Major League Baseball?
He did not.
All right. So, yes, there are examples of guys who have done a good job, but there are tons of examples of guys who did not do a good job. And there are plenty of examples of guys who don't play the game and do a good job. So to make a blanket statement to say you have to have a football guy or someone who played or that run your team is asinine.
Right. Like if you give me 10 people who played the game and had success at the GM level, and you gave me 10 guys that did not play the game and had, like, at some point, it's not about if they played the game or not. It's about everything else surrounding what they do, how they operate, and their manager skills from there. It's not if they played or not played the game, because you'll see a bunch that did well who played the sport. You'll see a bunch of guys that played well who didn't. You'd have guys that failed that played the sport.
Right.
It's not about playing the sport or not. It's about everything else that comes with being a GM, not the sport playing.
Now, he says that's not what I'm saying. He says, I would rather. That's exactly what you're saying. You would rather and trust him more. Why?
Because he played the game.
Because he played the game. You're saying the same thing. You're just going down another path. You trust someone who played more than you trust someone who didn't. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
I'm agreeing with you.
Like if you told me I could have Michael Jordan run my team, or you give me Daryl Morey, who are you taking?
That's a great point.
Billy's suggestion, he would trust Jordan more, and I will take Morey. You can have Jordan. I'll take Morey.
He said, well, this is my personal preference if I was an owner. Good thing Schreiber's not owning the Eagles.
Exactly.
We'll be booing him out of town.
I didn't say he's not allowed to have that preference. You're certainly, but to suggest that, like, again, you want Michael Jordan to run your team, you take Michael Jordan, I'll take Daryl Morey. That's the dumbest thing I ever heard, because Michael Jordan played the game.
How about Elton Brand? Elton Brand had some struggle. Now, we don't know who had the power and all that, but he played the game, and it's not like he worked out perfectly. Now, right now, he's underneath Daryl Morey, so it's different, but there's another example of a guy who came in here. He played the game, didn't have much GM experience. What did playing the game do for him? Well, not a lot.
Yeah,
not much.
I don't know what to judge Elton on either.
I know. But I'm just saying, if playing the game was so important, you would think you would have done a better job, even with his limited knowledge of being a GM. But that didn't carry him very far, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to say you'll take Isaiah Thomas, you can have Isaiah Thomas. I'll take Eric Spoelstra.
There you go.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'll take Eric Spoelstra, who worked in the video room and worked his way up.
How about Doug Collins? See, move your needle.
Doug Collins was a player. He was the number one pick in the draft.
I know.
And guess what? He was terrible. He was terrible. No, I don't want Doug Collins running my team. I don't want. No. Billy says I'll take Danny Ainge. You can have Danny Ainge. Take Danny Ainge. They're a 500 team. You take Danny Ainge. I'll take Eric Spoelstra.
But I don't think Danny Ainge is good or bad because he played the game. I think he's good because he is knowledgeable at that position that has nothing to do with his playing days.
Well, of course not. Right. Anybody with half a brain knows that. You don't have to. Okay, I told you in the break. There are a lot of people who choose to play sports when they're growing up who aren't any good. They just like the camaraderie and they choose to play. There are also people who aren't very good at sports and make the decision that they don't want to play. So you have a guy who chose to play but stinks, and a guy who chose not to play but also stinks. Both guys of equal talent. One guy chose to play, the other guy did not choose to play. It doesn't mean that the guy who stinks and chose to play knows any more about the game than the guy who chose not to play and stinks. They both stink. One just made the decision to play the sport. So under Billy's mindset is the guy who stinks but chose to play now knows more than the guy who doesn't, who also stinks but chose not to play.
Right.
It's ridiculous.
I'm with you right there, man. I found it great over the weekend. We were getting into it a little bit, and I love that it kind of transformed into this one, too.
Well, I said to Josh today, I said, I don't know how you weren't. I was driving up to Camden, and I heard this whole thing he's going on about Jerry Jones. And I said, here's one problem with your story. Here's where the facts get in the way of a good story sometimes. Jerry Jones played football. So your whole basis of Jerry Jones, you don't want a guy like Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones is the one owner who did play football. So Jerry Jones, in fact, would be, quote unquote, a football guy. He played at Division I Arkansas. So I don't know what level of football we cut this off at. Like if I played high school, does that make me a football guy? If I played college, am I a football guy? If I had a cup of coffee in the pros, am I a football guy?
I'll say for me personally, for this funny label of football guy or whatever, I think college is the cutoff. If you played high school and down, I can't give you guy. If you go college and up, you're guy.
What level of college, though? And, Division III, Division II?
No, I think everything's in play. Even if you play like JUCO baseball, I think you're still that's still like a lot of people go to JUCO and then take the next step or whatever.
JUCO baseball is a high level of baseball.
Agreed. For sure it is. Yeah. And they have that range in a bunch of different sports. So if you're playing JUCO or NCAA at any division, Division 1, 2, 3, you are guy.
No, I like this. Slimer chimes in. The jury is out. We will see how Jeff Lurie and Roseman do. I got result for you. They won the Super Bowl. You remember that? It was 2017. They won a Super Bowl. They don't have to prove anything to you.
Yeah,
they won the Super Bowl. So if you could say all you want, number one. Number two, they have the 6th best record in football in 20 years. The Philadelphia Eagles have the 6th best record in the entire NFL with a non-football guy running the team. They have the 6th best record in the entire NFL. They've won the Super Bowl. So you could get a football guy in here. Are they going to have the 4th best record or the 3rd best record? Probably not.
Yeah, even if they do make the changes if this crumbles, right? If this Lowry-Roseman duo crumbles in the next couple of years, if you look back at what they did, you can't say because it crumbled the way that it did that they had no idea what they were doing, right? Like I fall in the category of I do want change. I do want a fresh voice in the GM chair. But even with that being said, I don't look back at the Howie Roseman tenure and say anything other than it was success over 20 years. Even if this does go down the wrong way from this point forward, like with Billy saying, let's see what happens in the next couple of years. You already know what Howie and Lowry did over 20 plus years is success. Even if everything's going to run its course. Eventually, good guys, sure. It eventually falls down. So over the next couple of years, it might fall down. But that doesn't mean what they did over 20 years was a disgrace. And that's where the disconnect is.
They have the 6th most wins in 20 years. Jeff Lurie, as the owner, a non-football guy, somehow made good enough decisions to have the 6th best record. John Schneider. Okay, I want to use John Schneider as an example. Okay, John Schneider is the executive of the Seattle Seahawks. Did not play football. They are one of the best run organizations in all football. He started as a scout with the Green Bay Packers back in 1993. He worked in the scouting department. He worked as a video scout. He watched video. And by doing that, he learned the game by being around the game. That's what these people do. They're around the game all the time. And they learn from being around other people who are around the game all the time. Ron Wolf, who is the GM of all those great Green Bay Packers teams. He was an executive. He wasn't a player. He's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. He didn't play. He built the Green Bay Packers. That's what he did. Well, his passion was, some people grow up and say, I don't want to play, but I want to be a part of sports. I want to learn how to do this.
Well, you know what's crazy? If you look up the definition of general manager, right? A general manager is an executive who has overall responsibility for managing both the revenue and cost elements of a company's income statement, known for profit and loss, whatever. But my point is, there's such another side of this where a football player might have no clue how to work cap space, zero clue, but they're a football guy. There's more to it than just I played the game. There's 90%. I would say that's some of it, but how much other things have nothing to do with the sport of football at all?
It's exactly what Andrew Brandt said on his podcast about 2 weeks ago, which is these football teams still have this mentality of hiring people who played the game. And he said, it's so 20 years ago. He's like, dude, It's time to evolve and move on. You need people with new ideas, new ways of doing things, new ways to counter the cap, new ways to think ahead. He said, if you're going to keep doing this, you're going to get left in the past. And he said, as sports as a whole, they get trapped into, I want to hire John Elway because the fan base likes him. Well, John Elway's not very good at his job. You know,
he can't find a quarterback. How ironic is that? Guy can't even pick a right quarterback. Thought he played the game well enough. Yeah. You think he'd know? I don't know. I'm just trying to use Billy's logic here.
I don't understand the logic at all, to be honest with you, at all. Like most executives did not play.
Yeah.
Most of the good ones did not play. You know why? Their life's path was to be an executive, not a player. They chose early on. They were smart enough to say, I'm not good enough at this game. It's time for me to get out, but I want to get involved. Nick Sirianni played
Division III, right?
Division III wide receiver or something like that, and said, I'm not going to be able to play, but I want to coach, so I'm going to go down that path. People understand at an early age to get down a certain path if they're really good at that. So, you know, I think
does it change your opinion about the coaches, or are you in the same mindset of you don't need to play? Because I think GM-wise and coaching-wise, it is different, but I still don't think you have to play to be a successful coach.
Of course not.
No. But I believe Billy would.
Well, I said John Schneider is the GM of the Packers, of the Seahawks, did not play football. I think if you look through most of the teams right now, their GMs, very few played at a high level, if at all.
GM makes no sense. Like, in what world would playing football have anything to do with salary cap and roster construction?
Well, because a lot of people think that they
can draft better.
They can evaluate talent better because since they played, they have a better understanding of talent. I would disagree with that and say most people who play over-evaluate the people that they actually play with because they're friendly with them.
Now, Schweim thinks Nick Sirianni's a football guy. How?
Well, because he played college football.
Played D3 college football, and that's I mean, like, I understand. I'm surprised he thinks that. Because the way he thinks, it's probably NFL and
I bet
D1.
you Nick Sirianni would say, yeah, I'm a football guy, but I'm also, like, from the other side of things. Like, I'm going to look at things analytically.
Yeah, for sure. See, I would label him a football guy with my college and up route, but I'm surprised that Schweimer went that way because probably he's on the Eagles.
Well, he played.
If the Cowboys hired him, I bet you he'd be laughing.
He played college football, though.
Yeah, but not at a D1 level. I'm looking at it through Billy's eyes, not my eyes.
I don't know.
I'm surprised he labels him a football guy. That's all.
Most guys who coach played at some level, right?
You would think so.
Well, Chip Kelly, I don't think did. Was Chip Kelly a football player?
Is he a football guy?
Maybe. All right, we'll get the 5 coming up next here on the Sports Bash Live on 97.3 ESPN.
Wake up weekday mornings from 6 to 10 with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin on 97.3 ESPN.
He's a Super Bowl champion. Will he be remembered as a closer? No, that's Nick Foles. But he was the reason why they got the number 1 seed. More importantly, he will be a bystander of an organizational failure of monumental proportions.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin. Weekday mornings at 6 on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
On someone else excludes Corvette with GMF financing. Excludes prior sales. See dealer for details.
It's President's Day all month long at Bennett Chevrolet with our biggest, boldest, best deals ever. Saving you up to 25% off MSRP on brand new vehicles. Right now, Bennett Chevy is selling brand new vehicles at GM supplier employee pricing. Plus, you keep all the rebates that can save you as much as 25% off MSRP. But there's even more ways to save with 0% financing available. Plus, if you're looking for pre-owned, Bennett will pay you a minimum $7,000 for your trade towards any pre-owned in stock. That's a minimum $7,000 for your trade, no matter its condition. Imagine how much more you'll get for a good trade. And once you've dealt with our non-commissioned sales team, you'll rave about the wonderful experience with no need to negotiate and no hassles, because our team is paid on your satisfaction, not how much you spend. It's President's Day all this month at Bennett. Find new roads at Bennett Chevy, Egg Harbor Township, and BennettChevy.com.
Hey, y'all, this is your girl, Cheryl Underwood, and I want to tell you something. My digestive system used to make me feel sluggish, but those days are over. Now I feel great. That's because I increased my fiber intake with the Metamucil 2-week challenge, and I'm still hooked. I just took Metamucil every day for 14 days, and it's really that easy. Metamucil traps and removes the waste that weighs you down, so you feel lighter and more energetic. Now I never want to go back to that heavy feeling. Are you ready for the Metamucil 2-week challenge for a coupon and daily support? Sign up at Metamucil.com today.
O'Reilly. Need new wiper blades? Not sure which ones to buy? The professional parts people at O'Reilly Auto Parts can help. We'll show you options for your specific car and even install them for free. Right now, save $10 per pair on Bosch Focus wiper blades, plus earn double O-Rewards points. There's no better time to replace your wiper blades. Stop by O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
It's time for some straight talk. Tax returns could look a little different this year. So when the big carriers start trying to get you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk Wireless, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get our unlimited plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense. Tune into Straight Talk Wireless. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
Chrissy is refinancing her home, so she shopped around for the lowest rate and found it at AmeriSave.com, setting her up for a lifetime of savings. It's one decision she'll never regret, unlike wearing tap shoes to a surprise party.
Sorry, guys. Just trying to find the perfect hiding place.
Pretty regrettable, Chrissy. Unlike finding that low mortgage rate at AmeriSave.com that's got you on your way to a lifetime of savings. AmeriSave's rates won't be this low forever, so go to AmeriSave.com now. Lower mortgage rates mean higher savings. Call 866-514-SAVE or visit AmeriSave.com/licensing for cost information, terms, and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all states except New York. NMLS number 1168.
Listen to that 290 horsepower iVTEC V6 engine. That's a double wishbone front suspension. Nah, that's not our supercar. That's the all-new 3-row Acura MDX. It's only natural to confuse the fully redesigned MDX with the NSX because they share more in common than you think. It's a premium 3-row SUV with supercar DNA. Acura. Let's talk more drive.
For attractive offers on the entire Acura lineup, visit your Delaware Valley Acura dealer today.
This season's hottest collection is dropping to a dinner table near you. Meet the new Golden Standard, Church's new Texas tenders, accessorized with butterfly shrimp. Snag your Texas tenders and shrimp meal for just $5. Church's, bringing that down-home flavor. Offer valid at participating locations.
You ready for competition? It's time for 5 questions.
3 ain't enough, man. I need 5.
Number 5 will always love you. 5 times, not 10, you think.
All right, time for the 5 questions. By the way, Chip Kelly did play football. He would be a football guy.
Defensive back.
New Hampshire.
He also played high school hockey. So
did he?
If you ever watch him play, apparently high school hockey guy? Well, I don't know, but I'm saying if you watched him in high school, then you met someone famous and watched him play prior. All right, we'll start here. The weekend. How was your weekend? A lot of work, apparently. Right?
Friday night, I called a basketball game. Saturday, I called a basketball game, and I went to the grocery store not once but twice yesterday.
Now, that's a little strange.
That would make me a grocery guy.
Now, did you forget something and then have to go back?
There's when you get the bulk items, you got to go to one place, and to get the other stuff, you go to another place. So we went to the one place first, dropped that stuff home, unload the car, then went to the bulk item place.
Okay.
Did all that.
Yeah, that's always the worst.
It's that time of the the year,
time of the month,
the week or month or whatever, where you need we're out of paper towels. We got to get the bulk.
Yeah, that run's always a little bit heavier, sadly, to the damage of the wallet. Any new shows that you're watching?
Yeah, I'm watching Schitt's Creek.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I don't know if you're alled to even say that on the radio, but that's the name of the show.
Yeah, it's the name of the show.
Yeah, the guy's name's Roland Shit.
How is it?
Pretty funny.
Yeah, you like it? You go thumbs up?
I'm enjoying it. I'm laughing. It's pretty funny.
Is it one of those ones where you can't wait till get home and watch another?
Well, because it's a comedy more so than it's like the cliffhanger that leaves you in a drama.
That's true.
But I've heard about this show for a couple of years. It was on Pop TV. So we started watching it, and it's funny.
I have to check it out.
It's
quick hitters, you said, right?
It's Eugene Levy, from the dad from American Pie, and his son Daniel. They did the show together. The mother from Home Alone.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
It's pretty funny though.
Yeah, I have to check it out.
I'm sure people out there have watched it.
Have you seen the video of the kid that was heckling Cam Newton?
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on
that? That kid's
Yeah, I know.
What kind of? Now,
But
he put
that's
out an
what-
apology today, but
That's where kids are these days, though. Just ripping athletes for being a free agent and all that. Like, dude, as if the guy's unsuccessful.
yeah. And I don't like the way that Newton was like, I'm rich. I'm rich.
Yeah.
I'm rich. But, okay, the kid's like, oh, you're about to be a free agent. And he's like, dude, okay, I'm 10 years in the league. I was the MVP. I went to a Super Bowl. How about that?
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. Are you done with this weather or what? You guys didn't get snow here. I got
Yeah, I was gonna say,
pounded
you're
with
getting-
snow again.
Getting all this snow. I don't know what that is.
All right, I guess it's an irrelevant question. All right, the fifth one here, the most important. Is Billy a hockey guy?
What qualification of level of play would make him a hockey guy?
I don't
played
have
in the U.S. Air League.
I don't have the information for you. This is up for you.
No. I would say no. I mean, I don't know. What's the highest level of hockey that he played?
I don't have that information for you.
Did he even play ever sanctioned league? Pond hockey doesn't count. I would say not a hockey guy. Have a great night.
Sign up now for this year's $1 Million Bracket Challenge. Registration is underway now at 973ESPN.com.